Nice white shirt, yeah.
Thank you.
White shirt's the boss man shirt, isn't it? No, I'm saying out at the house.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Well, you notice
Am I right, Scribble? That's the head ranch hand shirt right there.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, just so you two know.
Uh-oh.
I don't have to wear this to be the boss.
You're the only ranch hand out there.
For sure, yeah.
Every now and then a white shirt shows up in my closet and I'm like, I will get coffee all over the front of it. Every time. Hey!
I'm sad about it.
Scandalous. Scandalous.
You see all the,
Yeah, who did all that?
well, Hannah's fired, she's the one that hung the.
But I 100% approve of this activity, and will back up anyone who as a.
I thought you were shooting or leading or.
You got some of these Texas colors on. I got Texas colors on, I guess.
I always have my case there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Full of scandals.
All right.
Hey, baby, do you have minutes from last week?
Kelsey should be sending them over.
Okay.
All I got was the 14th. Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 weeks.
You should have gotten the 21st too. I sent over the 21st an
Yeah.
email last
Yeah.
week.
Okay,
Yeah, those three there. There was one, I know one.
you were right, I got both.
Okay. Don't sound so sweet in there, Hannah.
Is Josh still getting the phones? Is he still getting the phones downstairs?
Yes. Did you say don't sound so sweet?
Need some more rain yet?
I'm always sweet. I know.
I mean, we're fine, I just, we some spraying, it always seems like it goes somewhere, get some spraying on it.
Yeah.
No, we had an inch. No, we had an even inch the last time, we had an inch 30.
Yes, I told her that they need to be done.
You got a quarter of an inch that last round?
What?
You're probably digging up dirt balls then, aren't you? Or hard to
I
plot.
ain't been out there. Just brother at Mom's place on 7, they had about 2 inches. But we didn't get any.
Well, I think Rex or you or somebody said they had inch 30 or an inch and a
Yeah,
half.
we
or
had an inch
something.
and quarter, yeah, so we've had the last couple of good rains. I mean, you can't dig it down, but that far didn't get dragged, but.
Wood sure made a lot easier pulling line posts though.
It did.
Oh, wow.
And pushing stuff in the ground
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
It won't last long though.
Yeah.
I thought we was talking some good chance of rain this week. They about to.
Oh, it's all, they've all taken it all out now.
Yeah, when we get hot, it'll go away quick.
Yeah,
won't it?
last one. We get that 2 inch rain, but there water holes out there around Mom's, but we didn't. Just didn't went around from about southeast Buck, quarter inch, maybe.
I didn't know you guys would catch me. I figured, but.
I figured it's pretty general.
Yeah.
Well, that line was kind of moving northeast a little bit, and I think it just went right.
You were on the east side.
You know, I quit watching the radar because it just annoyed me. It's like,
Yeah, I
it just, I
They
can't
said
watch
it held in Bluff, I didn't hear it.
We got quite a little bit.
They said it held down here too, man.
Actually got a little bit more, but.
Well, we feel on 44, you can tell they got it on. I mean, it was pretty decent.
Huh. I've seen flag leaves, I think, on rye. I suppose it's rye, but out in the ditch.
My ride, and that's one field looking pretty good.
Is it?
Is it flag leaf yet?
Oh, yeah. It's,
Really?
yeah.
Get about that tall?
Let's just say this quarter's going a mile over the next 2 years.
You may have cattle for sure, it's not even guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh, I've been letting Ross front the cows on the miler stocks because he's got true fall calvers and true spring calvers. Well, I can't very well. I'm not gonna run mine out on miler stocks because they start calving about Christmas all the way through, basically March. So it's just a lot easier to rent them out to him. I mean, he's got 1,700 mama cows, I have 100. You know?
Is that what he's got? Holy cow.
Oh yeah, they've got several in our way.
This string from Oklahoma or what, clear to my place or my place.
They've got
1,700 mama cow, that's a lot of mama.
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Did you start this thing? I think that they're going
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. AP look okay to you guys? Total on AP is $69,421.21.
What was it?
$69,421.21. Darren made that motion, all in favor? Aye. Pretty cheap this month, or this week.
Yeah.
No way, we'll come back around.
You'll do payroll, yeah, we'll come back around and get you.
Payroll is. $135,381.67.
All in favor? Aye. And then looks like Audrey has a travel request for the South Central District Spring Meeting in Winfield. She said it's gonna be about $50 for her to take the county vehicle. Here's the courthouse guy.
You gotta prove, you gotta make a motion on that or do something.
Yeah, just gotta do it.
I was gonna say.
It's on her budget anyway.
Yeah. And let's do those minutes that Bailey sent. There was one thing I did.
We went
see.
over that $0 for that. We went over that last week, didn't we? The zero request for our health department on the first one.
Yeah, we had her put $0 for that.
Okay, because there was nobody, wasn't costing us anything reason why.
Right, and it needed the health department added to it too, I think. So on the March 21st, Bailey, so it says at 9:25 a.m. Commissioner Bornoff motion to enter executive session. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matter.
Mhm.
I think that should be personnel matters.
Okay.
Just small, little deal. Other than that, I'm okay with both sets. I don't know if you guys have had a chance.
I've looked at both of them, I didn't see.
But I'd be okay with approving those if you can make that one correction.
I sure can, I will. I'm waiting for Josh to, put my, approval on this laptop so I can.
Is that in there too?
Anyway, if you guys are okay with those, I'd approve, or I would entertain a motion for the March 14th.
On the minutes?
Yep.
So moved.
All in favor? Alright. And same deal for March 21st.
So,
We're at Jeff.
Jeff's got it, all in favor?
so where did Horizon go to?
Are they not over here?
Where'd they go?
I don't know.
After they left here, I mean.
So they're not over there anymore?
No, I thought they used to be in your guys, our building.
I think that we're.
Oh, but Horizons Mental Health is that other one that's over north of Jeans IGA, that kind of.
The old Canada building, or the old.
Was Canada one?
No, South, or,
Bell. Something was a Bell, was that the brick building? On the corner?
Yeah, I kind of have gray trim and stuff on it. Yeah. North of Jeans IGA. So that's where they counsel people in. And we don't have the March 28th meetings, so. Can I, you guys okay if I have Amy come in during public comment for just about 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Visit with her. Big call real quick.
I need an executive session.
That's what I was gonna ask for, to talk to Amy for 5 minutes. Are you staying with her?
I've got a couple of things I want to talk about.
With Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go grab her. If you guys don't mind, we'll get taken care of.
Starting the day off. Right?
Oh, no.
Well, I was gonna wait till the end of the time. But when he said that, I was like, well, get it over
I'm
with.
sure we'll have one at the end too, no worry.
Well, that's why I said she's got one of these. so I'll do it then.
Yeah. Well, send it to me. Oh.
Get it over with. Well, Jason went out yesterday. Irons were really good.
Were there?
Drives, so.
Should've called me. I went and drove it somewhere.
We need to go sometime.
What we do? Yeah, it'd be interesting. It gives the golf course people something to do when I get off the golf course.
Kelly didn't have a very good day. Let's just say he stayed in the car
No, you're all right.
most of the time.
Oh,
Kelly got golf.
We were shooting yesterday off.
Huh?
We were shooting yesterday.
Over there, were you? I didn't hear anything.
10, we started at 10, you know, about 6.
God, never heard a gunshot. Wow.
We're shooting that.
Well, the wind kind of helped me.
Well, probably.
All right, I would like 5 minutes. I don't know how long you're in.
She's got to be back here later.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Okay,
I know. We can do 10 now, or,
you want to do that? We've got about 10 minutes till.
yeah.
Okay. You want to make that motion then, Jeff?
So,
Jeff made a motion to go into executive session. Mine's on personnel matters. I don't know if yours is.
Mine is
Okay.
something.
Subject to be discussed will be personnel matters. The justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume in this room at 9:15. All in favor?
thanks. And so Attica Fire Department needed new badges made. So I took Sam with me. It was like Thursday night after work. At 6, I ran over there and took all their pictures so I could make their badges for them. And he was there, and I had Sam with me, and he's just sitting there, glazed over. And I asked him, I said, when we're done, can I just show him the trucks? And he said, oh yeah. He said, I'll take him. And he took him, and I took the rest of the pictures, but Bobby took him around and had him sit in a truck and put a hat on.
He likes little
He
kids.
was in hog heaven.
Yeah, he's pretty good with little people.
Little
Yeah. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Sheena, are you and Mike up? Ready?
Now you can have a good one.
How are you guys?
Okay.
Good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay. You talking about roadie stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. I'm just getting on the project list.
Thanks, Sheena.
I do have, here's our first invoice from Schwab Eaton for the Henderson Bridge replacement. If you guys just wanted to look at it.
Okay.
He has our running balance at the bottom.
$400,
Yeah, they're moving pretty quick on that one, so that's good to hear.
It is.
We have been, ripping out all sorts of bridges right and left and replacing them with pipes. So coincidentally, we're out of big pipes. We talked to Melvin, and he can get us a load of 36-inch pipes, which is just 6 of them for $21,600.
And 2 or 3 of those would replace the bridge up there, Plum Thicket.
The Plum Thicket, yeah, specifically for that one.
What, a $300,000 bridge?
Yes, pretty much, if we were to replace the whole bridge.
And then the one you sent me the pics of,
Oh, that's the one you were asking
that
about.
was that looks like it just needs basically new decking, right? Maybe a little piling.
I'd have to look again,
Yeah.
I just sent it, because you guys were asking about it, so I have to go back and look, and then talk to Damien about it, but this is specifically for that Plum Thicket.
Is that used pipe or new?
It is
pipe?
used pipe,
Teel.
yeah.
And there's how many?
6
So,
6 40-foot sticks, which the price from November, these are $3,600 a piece. In November, they were $2,400 a piece, so.
So where's that gonna end? I mean, really?
Huh?
The price jumping like that, where's that gonna end?
Yeah, I don't know.
that's crazy.
You don't even want to know the price of the 42-inch pipe that I talked to you about. We declined, so it was out of control. But I do have an inordinate spending if you guys want to look at it.
What's your
think
budget
about
tab? What's your budget
it.
tab?
25,000.
So that's gonna wash your budget out on higher off the bat.
Yeah, pretty much.
But 2 to 3 culverts, replacing that bridge up north. I mean,
It's still less expensive than trying to replace a
a
bridge.
whole lot less.
So that's kind
Okay,
of
my
where we're
question
at.
is, you wanna do it in April, or you wanna wait till a little later, or?
It may go up, it's like everything.
I don't, it's where we go.
I would like to go ahead and do it now. We need to get that bridge open up there.
It may get more and more.
Are they wanting it open up pretty bad?
Plum Thicket one, yes. They're like offering
So that's only.
They're offering to what?
to rip it out for us. We
Which I
can't
don't know
let
if
you
I
do that, but
understand.
Can
yeah.
they purchase material to put back in?
I mean, we can ask for them to split it at least.
No, I'd ask them.
I will.
No, I mean,
I will.
not,
They're getting a lot
not
of
split.
Are there trucks going over the top of it, or?
Well, they can't now, it's closed, but I
I'll
don't
see
know
how
if
much
our
they're willing to
insurance is
do.
gonna throw it out.
They won't, no, we have
Well,
to do the
yeah,
work.
I know,
Exactly.
but
Might be worth
Yeah.
a mention.
Yeah, but if the insurance won't cover them.
Well, no, I mean for
Supply
supplying materials. but-
material.
Oh,
It wouldn't hurt to ask, sorry, I'm only saying this because I used to work out there. But they did used to have trucks coming from Kingman and stuff that would go over those bridges from the other highways.
they're not
Yeah,
supposed
they're-
to,
they're-
because, yeah,
that's
Destroying it, that's what they're doing.
right.
And see, that's the other thing I don't know for sure, but I think they're coming from the east of Harper sometimes, and I thought they used to have that route down K42, and that was all they could travel. And every now and then, you probably see it more than I do, because you're not.
Well,
I'm not
I
there.
think they got that changed somehow. I don't remember the specifics on it, but they come down 160 quite a bit.
So
But I don't know.
And I don't know even how to address that. I just,
They're still coming down there, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they're going down 160, I saw some the other day.
you might pull up that agreement sometime if you get a chance this next week so we can look at it. But
Okay.
I've started to notice that. And there was originally just that one route they were supposed to be on. So you might, if you get a chance, pull that up so we can look at that next week, maybe, please.
We got the AFC at the Bob Costas last Monday, still sitting where we parked it Friday, so.
And he told Mike, piece of cake. So,
I think it's,
getting him on it.
yeah, they're getting started.
You guys want to approve that North Spring?
Yeah, I mean, don't.
Yeah, I think we probably better a little bit more expensive here.
Yeah.
It probably grows by price every day. Don't make that motion.
Was it 21,006?
1,600 for a 36-inch pipe.
Jeff made that motion, all in favor?
Yeah, I will call him
Uh,
as soon as we get down there. 4-4.
Mike, the trees on the Danville Road, I have that to the west. If you want to take some of them out on the west, you can, but the rest of them are in that fence. So I mean, it's been that way since I was a kid. So I know Sam had talked to you about the other deal.
Yeah, he
So-
called me again this
Yeah.
morning too, about a mile east of.
So you can look at them on the west if you want. I mean, yeah, there's a few of them that can come out, but I don't want to
If
tear
they're
that
not
fence
right of
up.
way,
Yeah,
and then the others, we got pole saws, we can turn them back too.
yeah.
And you mentioned just south there, somewhere there's trees came over the road, I thought we were set. He said once in a while they break off and land in the highway, so I thought we'd trim those over there, just north of Danville. I guess.
Oh, yeah, along
Just
the,
right by that little bridge
Yeah.
area.
yeah, south of where you turn to go to,
Woodlands.
well, Lonnie Woodlands, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Where the deer jump out and try to kill
Yep,
you.
yep.
Yeah.
So how many crews you got cutting trees?
It's getting
Cody is
close.
over there and he's yelling right now,
Okay,
but they're gonna be starting Wednesday up there on Danville.
okay.
And I should be able to shut the rest of the graders down by Wednesday, and then we're gonna take pole saws up there too.
Where are we getting my area? I got some roads that desperately need it
Oh,
this
I don't
week.
have no trees over there.
Yeah,
Okay, then there's I don't remember the address, but the road is, I think it's the first south road or south of Freeport that runs back east. Is there any way we can, I have not actually
South of
rode
Freeport
down it.
going east? That's my,
Well, it's be the first road where I think you can go east out of Freeport to the south.
a mile south?
Is it a mile?
Or there's one right at Freeport in town.
Well, there's a particular farmer that has just farmed, I mean, there's no ditches anymore. And then people can't get down that road because it gets so muddy and the water can't run. And I know who the farmer is, so I don't want to bring it up right now, but I'm going to talk to him about it. So,
It has to be in Freeport then, because a mile south would be.
well, it probably is.
A mile south is pasture on the north side, that's where it's out. We have.
But I can visit with you about that some other time. I know, jeez, kept keeping this little black book. And then,
Proud.
They're gonna start on that bridge, hopefully tomorrow, up there just east
Oh.
of, they're by, Blanchard's Farms.
Oh, south of Randy and Jeff there, yeah. That's a pretty easy fix though.
It should be, they got the blower and stuff running there, so we can blow it off and weld the plate in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, Quinn Pence hit me up the other day. There's the approach going into their farm. I guess years ago, they broke the top of the concrete out and just stuck a whistle down in there. I haven't went and looked at it, so you might, if you're out in that area, go look at that.
Okay, I'll find out where that's at. I don't know.
They said with the new equipment, they can't hardly get in and out anymore, so anyway. That's all I got.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are doing good on fuel, right? Looks like.
So
Nine months to be
far, so good.
60% and you're at 80%, according to Shonda.
We're trying.
Mhm.
kind of on that same note, you might want to start looking ahead at ordering filters. I don't know if you've got stockpiles and filters, but have you been told this too, Darren?
I've already got mine bought for the year.
I already got mine.
So they're saying that that's going to be.
Anything to do with deer with fuel filters or high transmission filters.
So I need to talk.
In fact, they say don't change your oil until you know you can get a hold of a filter. Or at least don't take your filter off and do anything with it until you know you can get a hold of a filter. Is what I was told last week.
That's what I was told a month ago.
I'm gonna get the pump and have him get some filters ordered.
What he needs to get.
Of course, with Foley, don't they furnish the filters?
Well, some of those I think they do.
The cat kits, yeah, for the graders.
Yeah.
But
But-
we
But
have
just something to look into if you got anything with green paint on there, I guess a John Deere on it, it might.
could be.
And I don't even know about everything else.
Could be cat too, 'cause they're all built by the same.
And it's amazing to me how much that stuff costs now. So anyway, just giving you a heads up, Mike, that's what I was told last week.
And I've been working with Hinkle Law Firm. I have to go around and take pictures of all the road damage periodically for their maybe lawsuit, whatever. For,
Oh, yeah, and you gotta be careful on what you say with that, because it's pending
Yeah.
litigation and stuff, so.
I just keep up with
Okay.
any more damage or anything, so
Gotcha.
I'm working on that. That's all I got.
I did have one last thing. This is the RFP for the Bergman Bridge, if you guys wanted to take a glance at it.
You're gonna make us look at it here pretty quickly, aren't you?
Well, yeah, so I set the dates, which is really the important part we need to talk about,
Where is
to
that?
make that motion.
Between Anthony and Harper and then back to the west, I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly what road that is.
Is,
Can you see it? Is it that
Yeah.
one
This
on,
one?
I think
I think
that's
it's
the one.
on 80.
Yeah, that'd be about it.
Yeah,
Back to the
road
west, Kenny's.
20 or A road 30, somewhere in there.
That's it right there.
I think it's.
Yeah. What are your dates on there, Sheena?
Here, I'll start them for you so you guys can make a motion. Trying to give them a little extra time, because I got told last time that I maybe rushed them a bit.
Well, you did.
Well, I did, but we were behind, so.
Okay, so proposals shall be received by mail or hand delivered to Harper County Public Works by 5 p.m. on May 6th. And then we'll open those on May 9th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So we will need motions to set those. Let's do them separate. Let's do the proposals received on May 6th at 5 p.m. So Jeff made that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
And then to be opened and reviewed by Public Works Administrator and Road Supervisor and the Commissioners on May 9th, 2022 at 10 a.m.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's all I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
guys. Do you need Mike to stick around, Josh, to listen to about that tracking software? Is he?
If you want to, I was gonna switch out my order real fast, so, I mean,
Switch out your what? Order?
yeah,
Okay.
whatever you wanna do. I mean, if you feel like you got a handle on it, you're probably
I don't know what you're talking about.
fine. The asset tracking,
Okay.
like the Verizon
Well,
stuff.
you don't need me. I got things to do.
Go for it.
Alright.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thanks, guys. Come on up, Josh.
Alright. Well, why I wanted to switch some things around instead of doing the asset tracking is because we had some issues with dispatch again this week, or this weekend. So I know that I think last week or 2 weeks ago, you guys, came down to the server room, we went over dispatch, we looked at everything. We're kind of in the situation that we were a week ago. And so I didn't know if we had thought about this anymore, or
What's your suggestion? That's what we want to know. We gave you some options, didn't we?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm open with whatever. I'll tell you, as just from my department, as the technology director, I want those $30,000 worth of servers out of that room ASAP.
I think we agree with that.
And so that's what I want, because if one of them goes down, we're going to be out of compliance because we're not recording, and if the other two go down, we don't have 911.
Okay, the biggest question is, where are we gonna put him? Because if we take his ball out, where do you wanna go?
I understand.
Where do you wanna move to?
I can move across the hall. I could move back to the boiler room. Josh's idea might not, his latest idea might not require taking that wall down, move the battery back up in where he was, and put the servers in the existing room. He would have enough space that way.
I'd say take your wall out and move it. So that's what my suggestion was anyway to start with.
And I prefer him in the boiler room. Don't get upset, Nolan, but I just think it worked for 55 years. Why wouldn't it work now? I mean, I don't know what's changed that all of a sudden that's not a good place for an office. Because in fact, there's less stuff in there than whatever it used to be. Less of that boiler heating the room up. And
I don't have a problem moving back there if that's where you want me.
that's just me, Nolan. There's two other voices too.
I agree, but I want you to feel, it's not that hot in that boiler room, so.
No.
Good place to take a nap in the wintertime, Jesus. So you're talking about not taking that wall out now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've thrown out a lot of different options just to see what's the cheapest and what is, doable. I mean, right now it's about 78 degrees in that room over there. And that makes me real nervous.
Yeah,
I was checking my phone all weekend, and I mean, that's not a good place to be. So I don't know. If we can. So there is on that back wall we have battery backup power, right? We have a 4-gang box that is hooked up to that battery backup that's over there. And while that battery backup may not be working all the time, it's what we got. And then on the other side of that, we've got, oh man, I just went blank, like suppressor that cleans up electricity, right? Like a large surge protector on the other side of that. So I feel pretty confident over here that we have what we need to make sure that we're getting clean electricity into those servers. On that back wall, as well as that 4-gang box, we have all of our phone system. And so without moving any of that, we basically just, cut a hole in that wall that you were talking about, and then try to move, stuff on the back side of that, and then turn the servers, and that should give us enough room to put another server cabinet in, that big black cabinet that's in the center. We turn it, put another one beside it, stack those 3 servers. I can take some stuff out of the 2U rack and put in there as well.
How much help are you gonna need to get all that done?
I think
or what's the timely manner?
The biggest issue is, I'm gonna spend $1,300 on another rack for that server. And, that's a lot of money, and then the rest of it's just time. The 2 servers that we have for actual 911 itself, like CAD, I can split those up. So basically I take one over, put it here, and we're running off one server, so dispatch stays up. And then, once I get everything smoothed out, we just go ahead and move the other server over so we're not down. The nice server, like the one that records, and it's just constantly recording the phone calls, that's a little trickier because we gotta find a little time to be down and then, hustle it over here.
Is that there on a Monday or Friday?
It's Sunday probably. It'll be sometime over the weekend. And,
have you talked with her though? Because I think she can send calls over to Barber County for a period of time.
That's what we're gonna have to. That's what we're gonna have to do for that nice server.
That's your tornado backup or something like that.
Right.
Well, there's somehow
Like
they have an agreement
yeah,
to do that.
And hopefully, it's 15 to 45 minutes we're down and we're right back up and everything's
Running back and forth.
Yeah, get my steps in.
But you still want to take that wall out.
Yeah, and
You're gonna have to.
I don't think I have any other room. Or other options. The only thing that we've talked about again is that room that's there, trying to work on it. But then we got to get Geeson out to do electrical on it, and it is going to be more work and a longer time out. We're looking at we could do this in the next 2-3 weeks, and then
The wall's not gonna be much to take out. It's just a wall.
It sounds like you have a plan, so.
What about though, like I talked originally, the thought was when Bob came in was something about the security of those servers and not having them exposed to the window so people can walk by and see that.
So my plan is, so I went to Barber County, went to Reno County a couple of weeks ago and just kind of learned.
Put some black curtains up.
Well, I mean so this is their room. This is their server room. So those black cabinets are their servers. And then what they did is they just took 2x4s and then put
Like greenhouse.
yeah, exactly. And so what my plan would be is to kind of do that on both sides of the cabinet, so it wouldn't be directly next to the window, and I could still use, you know, this greenhouse stuff. You can kind of see this is just an old screen door that they use, but they cut out these slots so they could open up the windows or put the HVAC units next to it to use. And I mean, I would do something like that where, and you know, I mean.
Black curtains keep the room cooler, keep the sun.
Exactly, yeah. And then if I had to, and again, you know,
Open the window.
exactly, and that's been a need before. We've already had that happen all the time. So,
No, I don't want to close the window off, but
right, yeah. So that would give me access to the window, but also kind of block it off for security reasons. That way somebody couldn't just peek in. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I like some direction on this because I don't
Well, I think we need to move.
I don't want to keep spending my weekends doing this.
No.
It's
No,
tiring
number
on
one,
me, it's tiring on Nolan.
they need to get out of there, number one, whatever we gotta do to make that happen.
Okay.
I'll come help you move if you want to.
Deal.
Is it a lot of carrying stuff, or what is it? It's mostly just wiring.
It's going to be wiring and then putting that as soon as I can get that server rack in, another one of those black boxes. So again, we're worried about heat, right? We've kind of got the server rack that we have, the black box that we have with that new server that we just put in a couple months ago with Bob. We're over the limit on it. It's too hot in there. That's why that fan's blowing in there all the time. So if we can get another one of those, take the servers that we have and then one out of the current cabinet, we can kind of even it out a little bit and hopefully kind of cool out or cool off our, you know, room as a whole, disperse some heat. And again, we're not in necessarily a dangerous threshold, but we're getting up, you know, high 70s over there, which is getting pretty dangerous. And
Makes you worry anyway. 'Cause
Yeah,
if you see
just-
that climb, you wonder what's going on.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't think
exactly.
that's on you.
So, I mean, that's been
There's fence on this either.
No.
the issue this weekend.
But he's got that sitting all on his shoulders though. He's worried about that happening.
man,
I've been there, done that.
I was
That's
at a
not-
wedding this weekend. I'm checking my phone on.
It's not a fun way to have to live.
It's not a good time. Yeah. And you know, if it wasn't dispatch, I'd be. I mean, I'm
We
not
deal
saying
with
I
it
wouldn't
Monday
care.
morning.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's a
You
24/7
know,
deal.
yeah. So.
So it sounds like to me,
Okay.
take the wall out,
Yeah.
get you some partitions or something.
Yeah, and I'll do all that. Do we need to do any kind of action on this or resolution? Or
If it's gonna cost money, we will.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think I can get the lumber from Damien, and if you're okay with me taking some of this greenhouse stuff out of my budget, I'll do that. Curtains out of my budget, I can afford those.
What about the air conditioner dripping on top of the one?
That's
so is
so
that-
again, I'm gonna move it. So if it
Rotate
does start
it or something?
exactly. So if it does start dripping, I can just put a bucket under it, and we're not
Okay.
concerned about. That's kind of the other benefit of moving this over.
Okay.
That way we have more time, right? Because it's not constantly like what's over there.
Just
It's a
humidities.
drip, you know, and like condensation, not an actual like flow of water. So, and again, unplug, replug, it's fine.
Okay.
It'll last us a few more years, I hope. So, yeah, okay.
You guys good with that?
I am.
You know, did we make that clear?
I hope so, man. Yeah. I'm
Just fix the problem, Josh. That's where we're at. Just fix it.
So we don't need a motion yet?
Not to do all that.
okay.
It's just hardware stuff.
Yeah, I think we can do that all for pretty cheap. We should be able to do that. That rack will be the most expensive part, but I can get that in. I'm gonna try to get it in as fast as possible. So
Are those easy to get hold of?
they weren't when I checked on Friday, but I'll do my best, I guess. So I don't really know what other options we got right now. Let me throw this up on our.
I assume that's all still transportation related, why we can't get stuff here. I don't know.
I mean, that rack's good size, like it'll take a little bit to, you know, move and like put together, so.
But this isn't the new world that we live in, that there's shortages of everything for here on out.
Absolutely. Hope I got this labeled right. So we finally put in some of our asset trackers.
There was one day I pulled it up just messing around and trying to look at it, and you can see an ambulance, it moves quick across the county. I mean, it's flat out going. I mean, it almost can't update fast enough to track how that thing's moving.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest one that we did here recently was noxious weeds. We're still waiting on. I was hoping to get the guy from Foley out to, put on our heavier equipment. That just hadn't happened yet, so keep moving that way.
Are you looking on your phone on there?
Well, I was doing it on here a few days ago. I was at the doctor's or doing some work, and I pulled it out there.
Well, how's that going?
I don't remember any of it. Total black out there.
You ever seen me act like a little girl?
Hey, I took a pill, it was like 5 or 6 hours. I remember them giving me shots in my mouth. Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just going. I was apparently falling asleep all the way home eating hamburger.
Well, I need one of them next time I go.
You don't remember, but I remember it came out just a little bit, and then it's gone. Next thing I remember, that afternoon, I'm welding in my shit. That's the next memory I had.
Did you take like an hour before you went or something?
Hour before you car, and then you get there and take another one.
I need one of them. Maybe every day. No, at least for that.
It's kind of weird when you lose your memory. That's the bad.
It is.
Yeah.
She said I fell asleep and dropped my hamburger in my lap and woke up and then
I can't believe he's eating a hamburger.
I was hungry.
I mean, after the dentist though.
Well, it's just on this side they put a implant in this side. It's not selling it well enough.
Yeah, it's the we're signing as a different admin.
I got it on my phone.
Yeah, I can pull it up on here. It's not on the cast. It's basically the same system as we were looking at before with our mapping. The biggest difference that we have, we do have our noxious weeds on. We talked about the ambulances moving fast. The biggest one is our reports. Turn this a little bit so I can see. So, come on. I guess since we're not up, I don't think on anybody. On the big screen. So we can see the time spent that the vehicle was running, where it ran to, when it stops, when it starts, how long it was at a set, specific point. The thing that we did for our noxious weeds is, so David runs about between 8 and 10 miles an hour when he's spraying. So we created a little threshold at that speed from 6 miles an hour to 12 miles an hour and set it for anything over 30 seconds to take out like speeding up and slowing down. And what that does is, so when he's going in between those two speeds, going down like a dirt road spraying, it'll actually take a ping and set that time. So you can see any time that he's going in between those thresholds, and we get that as a report. So we know, which way he's going, and then all he has to do is mark on a comment, say I'm spraying north side, I'm spraying south side, I'm spraying, east, west, whatever. And then he can also mark weather in that comment as well. So he knows, okay, yeah, I'm spraying the east side, but the wind's coming, from this direction. So at, whatever miles an hour, right? But then we can track and actually pull up a map of a detailed map.
And he has to do that on his phone, or he's doing it on paper, and then somebody will get in there?
Right now he's doing it on paper, and then we'll upload it for him. The ideal situation would be to get him to,
Yeah, that's what
do it himself.
It's not work for somebody else.
I think we're a little bit away from that point specifically, but he's used to his paper logs, and so he's done it that way.
Oh, there's no internet. That's why mine's not working.
But I wanted to show, so this is just the location and replay of this footage, so we can just go, but it tracks. You're talking everything: ignition on, seat belt, any codes that are thrown. It's extremely, extremely detailed. And this would give you a location. You can also see like the actual review of it or replay that on the live map. It's a pretty neat deal.
Well, hit that recap button. Let's just see what, because I wondered what that was.
So this will pull in here. I should zoom in, and you can actually see where he's going. You see?
Well,
so we had an alert right there. Now this is what's cool on the sheriff's side. So on the side of the cameras, we can see the specific views that they're seeing. So we have a camera facing the inside of the cab that's showing the driver, and then anybody, like a passenger or anybody back there. And then you also got a front view of you've seen them at like traffic stops, so like out the front side. So yeah, so this is just the preview, and then you see the times off to this side. So this is essentially what we're doing with the spraying, right? Except there's an icon, it's a purple icon, and unfortunately he hasn't sprayed anything yet just because where we're at right now. But when he does, we can show you. And it pulls it up on a map, and you can actually trace it out and see it, wherever he's going.
Now, is that just today's activity that's replaying right there?
Yeah. So this is just, and it just keeps going.
Interesting. See, now I think the next step on this is to be watching this and think, okay, why are we not? So if we're up here, why did you go clear down to here and then back up to here?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would send notification that we're backtracking a lot. And doing all that.
I mean, so one thing that we have on this one that we didn't have before is you can look at like a total mileage and just get an idea from there. Because if you're going, man, why are you driving 300 and some miles a day? That's just excessive. You're spending more time in the car than you
just
are
driving around and up and down.
Exactly, yeah. I'll show you one more thing here. But the other thing, and this is I think pretty big.
But that's going to take somebody sitting back reviewing all that stuff.
Well, so we've got it down to where we can do quite a few reports automatically, where we don't really have to do a ton of, so I should have just left that.
So it'll send a report telling you that they're backtracking and.
Exactly, yeah. So when I run this report, you should see it right here. So I could run this report. I could email it to myself, and I can also filter down, what I want to. So when we talked about like Dave, right, and this is the one. So noxious weeds, we've got that little threshold, right, between 6 and 12 miles an hour, because that is his spraying speed, and he's not going to be going down a county road at 6 miles an hour for longer than 30 seconds. Right? That's just, So we've got that. We can get a detailed report of just that time sent out as well, and that's what we're talking about on the daily spray reports, where then he says, I was on, Northwest 40, and I was spraying north side, right? And all we have to do is just add those back comments, and then he pulls the weather himself. Eventually, again, where we'd like to be, just like anybody, just think about Garrett, right? Signs. He's at a location. He's already got his geo marker. He can comment, hey, I've got a stop sign down at, Crossroads, right? Time, all that other information is already pulled in for him. He just has to drop that pin. Let the gas real fast, and that was the only other thing that I wanted to.
Oh, I saw that on there too, where it must not record yet when they're filling up or something. I can't remember what that was.
Yeah, let me.
Reports or something.
Yeah, if you go to reports, and then you can.
Look at all that shit.
Yeah. Well, I don't think,
dashboard or something.
I don't think either of you guys have pulled in the acceptance yet, so I mean, I'll resend those links. It's not coming from me; it's coming from Verizon itself.
That's why.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it looks like something he told you not to be open.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dangerous like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the Russians.
Yeah.
After
I better play it safe and pretend you
Yeah, I was gonna say, you tap into it.
So again, this is just from today.
Black as you
Yeah, fuel pure purchase. That's one that was black and white. Did you see all this stuff?
No.
Have you?
No.
You didn't care to look at it.
I don't know, way too much money in this one, it's all said and done.
So we can talk about like the duration of idling. That's again just kind of wasted fuel. We can talk about the actual cost per gallons, and then we can also get our.
So it does have wasted fuel in there.
Yeah, and we can also get our speeding events, right? So like, and again for EMS, for sheriffs, some of those it doesn't really matter, right? That's not something that we care about. But for others, I mean that is something fairly important. Oh, and EMS, yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you're sitting there.
That'll be interesting.
But the coolest thing I think is this light map. That's what I can't wait to start seeing that in the graders, when the main graders have that, because you can see when they're moving, where they're at.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to learn to play that replay thing, because I like that, because you can kind of track and see.
Yeah. I think in the long run, though, it's gonna save us money.
I definitely think it
It'll be a
will.
ways,
Yeah.
cause somebody's gotta input all this somewhere, even if it's you still spend time on it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and, you know, I'm not an expert at this by any means, but,
No, but I mean, if you're out driving around wasting fuel,
yeah.
going to 10 buck 2 and back,
Well, just like the one he just showed you right there.
yeah.
It was up here, then it was down here, then it's up there again just this morning.
Right. Okay. One more thing I wanted to show you real fast. I'll pull up a good one, I think. Kind of actually glad we're not on there, because then I can pull some of these. So this pulls in. I think one of the biggest things on this, and we'll see this on graders as well, is right now you guys are getting blanket service requests or, you know, information, right? So if somebody cracks a windshield, it just comes to you. You don't know who does it, what happened, right? It's just a cracked windshield. We don't have any way of logging that information. So just from past few days, we can basically track that back to a vehicle and then back to a driver if something keeps happening over and over again. We have graders, we have pickups that constantly have issues with sensors, with, you know, fuel issues that are filling up more than they need to, right? This is a way to actually take that and have some accountability back on the people that are running that equipment. So if you have a, you know, operator that has had 8 cracked windshields in the past 6 months, do you think it's luck at that point in time, or do you think that it is, you know, maybe a way that they're maneuvering or driving? You know, that's something where I think we could save a lot of money, and then have some corrective action to, you know, take and do something about it. And that goes beyond just the fuel side, but it goes on to Jim and Dave replacing sensors. You know, we have a pickup that is throwing codes all the time. Damien's pickup, he hooked onto a trailer and threw a code automatically. We were able to hop on, see what it was, and so, oh, that's no big deal. It's because you hooked up to a trailer. It's pulling a little harder than it needed to. Don't worry about it. He turned the ignition off, the code went away. So it wasn't a big deal. We weren't concerned. Otherwise, he would have had to go back to Jim and Dave, have them hook up the sensor, or, you know, the reader to it, and then pull all that information. Who knows how long that takes? A couple hours for him to get back there, as opposed to just hop online and say, oh, not a big deal, O2 sensor, not worried about it. I mean, this is already a time-saving measure in itself, and we haven't even implemented it on the equipment that I think, or the most expensive equipment, the equipment that we would need enough. Yeah, if you just go to reports and scroll, you can run any of these.
That's what I was curious on to see.
Yeah.
And you don't have graders hooked up yet, so I can't
Not
pull
with
those
graders.
there.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
see how they
Yes.
traveled.
The only thing that is halted us from putting on the graders is we are still under contract with Foley, so we want to respect, you know, this is their equipment, right? I mean, it's our equipment, but they're still maintaining a lot of it. So we want to make sure that we hook this up and put it in a place that they're comfortable with, and, you know.
We have internet problems or something?
It should be. You just load. It says you're connected right there. Where's your settings?
Don't worry about it. You got it set, dude. I'll figure it out.
Just push a button.
Yeah, just keep clicking.
That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. Okay.
Shut it off and start again. That's usually what I do.
Man,
After 15, start it up again.
I do appreciate that. Let me say.
Yeah, when we were kids on the computer, I said shut it off.
But it don't work. Shut it off. Try it again.
Count 15 seconds and turn it
That's
off.
the start. I got a few minutes left, so I just want to show one more thing, and then I'll be good.
I do keep the emails about my storage full, and then it says it right there on the actual thing, so that must be a real deal.
So we have the same alerts set up that we did before. If the device becomes unplugged, airbags deploy, speeding on certain vehicles, not for emergency service personnel obviously, but any other vehicles. And not just speeding like, oh, I'm going 66 miles an hour. We're talking, 15 plus, because, what else do we have? Airbags deploy, and then any sensors, right? So that's any sensors that come off and can be read by that OBD2, reader. We've got one of these hooked up, and I don't think he'll mind. So this is kind of cool.
Oh wow, that's the sheriff.
So this is Kenny, and you're just gonna watch this clip.
That's not live though.
It is not live, so there's about a 5-minute delay of. This is a triggered event, but this is about a 5-minute delay. So currently, the only people that have access to this are myself, Kenny, and Tracy. But it is cool for the sheriffs. It's another fallback accountability, not only for them, but for everybody else. So
I don't need access to that.
Yeah.
But I just think that's neat how.
No. Well, and it kind of covers our butt a little bit too, right? As a county, when we, somebody says, oh, going 65 down Main Street, and you can pull it up on the computer and say,
that though, right?
yes, yeah, they had a vehicle tracking. This is the updated software of what they had. That's why we went with Verizon. Their old one wasn't pulling quite the same information. It wasn't quite as accessible. And this is kind of sectioned off. Basically, there's 2 accounts. We pay for them together and everything. Well, there's technically 3 accounts, but we pay for them together. Everything's lumped in as one. But, there's a sheriff's account, and then there's kind of everybody else, the EMS, Public Works, heavy equipment, and the light equipment. So, any questions?
No, once you figure out how to put it on those graders, I want to know. I want to be able to see.
I'll send you guys an email. Do you want me to go ahead and send those Verizon emails again? That way you guys have access to them. Yeah. So you can see those.
Cool. I just had to save the password on here, or this. Of course, you're gonna make us start changing that there pretty quick. But.
Well, not for that, but yeah.
When do you think you'll start moving stuff?
Depends on when I can get that server cabinet in and put it together, and then I'm probably looking for a Saturday or Sunday.
So a couple weeks.
Yeah. Hopefully under, but yeah. I don't want to spend another weekend sweating. I don't mind too much on the
If you
week.
need some help carrying stuff on.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely rely on
Bring Todd. My friend Shonda says, well, we'll have it done pretty quick.
I don't know if you can drink on the county property.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying her husband. We're like a busy bee.
I would appreciate the help. It's those servers. They weigh.
I don't think there's enough work for him to do, is there?
Oh no, you can't slow the guy down. He makes me look, well, I am lazy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Anything else?
Thanks, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Darren, motion to recess for 5 minutes. All in favor?
I say that.
Hi, Richard. Hello.
How you doing?
Okay, good. How's it going?
Good morning.
Hello.
Do you have a busy day, Richard?
Hmm?
Do you have a busy day planned?
No,
Not terrible.
not like it. Good.
Yeah.
Is that Jayhawk always up there? Or is it
No, we just did
special
that today,
treatment?
yeah.
Function for all of us non-Jayhawk fans.
Well, I told Shelly, I said, this is as KU as I could get. Short notice.
Hi, gang.
Hey, Shelly.
What's much I love numbers.
Oh, yes. Love it.
So there. Oh, we love the CID.
You never answered my question.
Oh, I didn't answer your question. Oh, I love your.
Who's at home doing stuff? Motion to reconvene. There we go, all in favor? Richard, are you up?
Nope.
I don't have my agenda.
I'm here with Shelly.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that he's willing to admit that.
You see his grin though?
Well, okay, so, I guess there was some questioning on the CID, so I've tried to, I've learned more about the Community Improvement District in Anthony, Kansas than I ever really want to know in my life. So, first of all, we are getting a ton of requests for a CID and trying to keep up with it. As a matter of fact, Kelsey just did a new spreadsheet, and I really, Shonda, have you had much of a chance to look at it? 'Cause we're trying to keep up, but I mean, we're doing okay. So I actually did get the history of the CID, that the Community Improvement District was actually created, as we all know, to rebuild the buildings. Do you know how it ended up in the county as opposed to the city of Anthony? Anyone want to know that
I
one?
know the city didn't want to control the funds or didn't want to have any, I don't know, I just had bits and pieces from
So
that.
apparently at the time, because of the explosion and because of everything that was on the city's plate, the city did not want to deal with another thing involving that issue. So because at the time Mike Laney, who was the Harper County development person, he said, well, let's approach the county, and the county said, sure, we would be more than happy to administer that, because it is a collection of a sales tax,
Right.
but it's just for Anthony. So over time, the county has collected that tax. There's also an administration fee that gets paid to administer the CID. But the majority of the funds, of course, as we all know, goes to replace those buildings or pay off the note. I'm still trying to figure out how much we owe on that, and I figured that's got to be somewhere.
Somewhere.
So I'm still trying to track that down, because a majority of the money goes toward that, and then 25%, from what I understand, goes to support this community improvement district, which was actually created. So the fire and explosion happened in 2009, and this all kind of came about in 11-12, because that was a new tool that the state of Kansas handed down, was this idea of a community improvement district. So the bottom line is, though, according to the old guard, or the guys that I've been visiting with, the CID was never intended to be a grant program. It was always intended to be a low, if no interest loan program. So, and I was telling Commissioner Strudel about this, and I'm not sure how it all evolved or where it got changed or, you know, interpreted differently. But anyway, so that's obviously what we have now. And we have a lot of requests now. It's interesting because for quite some time there were not a lot of requests. And so what the committee started doing is, because there wasn't a lot of requests, they would try to give everybody at least half of what they requested. So now that we have a ton, we're still trying to do half of what was requested, but it's becoming a lot more difficult because the fund is not regenerating as fast as we need it to. And because of some other things that we've realized are flawed with the system, that there's the timeline and, you know, putting parameters on it and this and that and the other. So with that being said, oh, I need one more copy of this, but if you guys want
You share.
yeah, you can share. So this is currently all the projects that I have that I'm processing right now. As you can see, I've kind of across the top, I've put together like, you know, has the application been received? Has it been processed? This and that and the other. So, I'm calling this the project tracker. So right now,
You paid out soil conservation, Madison, and pack and flavor, if I'm reading that right?
pretty much.
That's a check.
Yeah. And I've got to double check. So like Matson, I'm fairly confident we're done paying Mr. Matson. We've certainly have paid off pack and flavor. The conservation district, I need to make sure that what we've paid out is equal to what was supposed to come out of CID versus the actual economic development or community development fund. And then today we are going, I guess we're visiting about the checks that were issued to Pizza Ranch.
Yeah, I had a question on that.
So-
We've talked.
When I got a call on that, I just said, you need to call Richard.
Yeah, well, because it is, you know, a larger amount, although the request that's in now is basically for the roof. And so Richard and I have talked, and the monies that are being used right now are certainly the whole idea is the monies be used to improve the district.
Yes.
And obviously, those monies have already gone to improve the building, which is in the district. So regardless of what happens to it, is it better now than it was before the monies were put into it? Yeah. So that's the idea. Let's improve the district in any way, shape, or form to leave the buildings in better condition.
Right.
So
Keep them here for the next generation.
absolutely.
Otherwise, they were going to start falling apart.
Yes, they were. That's the reason
Absolutely.
for it.
Richard, did you want to add anything? I mean, I think, you know, there was pause just because one of the checks was actually requested to go straight to the Bank of Commerce. And in doing some research, that is nothing unusual. I actually, after you and I visited, I found out that
They don't have to just write one check, they can write 2 or 3 or 4 checks then.
yes, and as a matter of fact, that's kind of, unfortunately for me, how things have been trickling in so I've now become,
The secretary or treasurer of the
yes, I definitely need a secretary.
So, Richard,
Is this something we want to continue doing?
Yeah.
For her?
we'll handle this.
Well,
Get your opinion on all this. Is that going to not an individual? Is that?
Well, there apparently is no real criteria for it, and as Shelly said, apparently checks have done that before. When I talked to Ms. Penn, she indicated that it had been paid by Caleb, and I asked about the statement from the roofing company, and she said it had been provided.
So,
It's in the county somewhere.
I don't have a copy
Oh.
of it.
I have that Crow construction is what we have. Have you seen that, Bill? Yeah. And Shonda's on the committee, so I mean, it's not like it's just me looking over the accounting, so
Right.
thank God. So. I will be the first to admit, there is a reason I'm a journalist by trade.
Does
Because
Bob
I-
own your household?
Because numbers are not my thing. And you know, at this point in life, you admit what your shortcomings are and you deal with it.
I agree.
So, and that's
So
why,
you're good with it then?
that's why you got this gal.
There's
I'm
nothing.
right there with you, so I'm okay admitting what I can't do.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying that.
Roller should be
Well,
that.
I don't know.
That's what I asked Shelley, you know, what was the criteria, what are the parameters, how's this all work? And she didn't have anything.
Well, I mean, there's nothing in the policy or there's nothing that I have found that says checks have to be made to such and such. And in doing some research, I did find out that one of our other entities, downtown entities, did have checks paid directly to Kansas Bank. So,
But see, that whole CID thing from the get-go has been kind of a, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't type of deal, because the black clauses that were put on those buildings, it was just kind of a gentleman's handshake agreement, I guess, because they could sell those and there was nothing on the title. You know, if anybody did any research in the title before those transactions happened, there was nothing to make that actually a thing.
what I don't understand is why is the county paying a note on buildings that we don't even own?
The county is not, the CID
The
is.
CID is, yeah.
Right.
I mean, the CID.
The county's in charge of administering
Right.
that, but it's not the county paying that note.
Right, but then so then,
Because if the money's not there, my understanding of it is it just doesn't get paid. The
Yeah.
developer's the one that takes it in the shorts after that, because
Right.
he's not.
So I told you,
Is this something we want to continue doing?
well, we're obligated until those buildings are paid off
Right.
for
It's good
for
for the-
22 years from
it's actually-
2012.
in my opinion, it's good for the city.
Why? Why are we obligated?
Well, we're not.
The city's the one that
You
started.
personally are not, but the county as a whole took that agreement on.
So, and I will tell you that the city, and Commissioner Struble had a great idea, and I think it's very, very good to have somebody from the city of Anthony be a part of this committee.
No, I do too, because I've already been hit up about that.
So I personally, my personal opinion, we've had this conversation, you know, now that they're in a better situation, I mean, I don't know why they're not administrating, but I think because it is a sales tax that's already been established and the parameters
Well,
and
we'll
stuff,
change
I think
it.
it would be difficult to shift. But I do
don't know
think,
if you can.
yeah, I don't know if you can in midstream, to be honest. So I do think, you know, we've got to continue doing what we're doing, but I do think the city of Anthony, because to be honest, I probably spend 70% of my time here for the county working on just Anthony CID.
See, that's what I had a problem with that.
I do too, because I feel like I haven't been to Attica for, gosh, a month or so, and I mean, I'm going tomorrow, which I'm excited about. But
I guess I'd like to know what point we got obligated to do it, because the city of Anthony's the one that started it.
But they
they did,
Well,
no,
they-
the
no.
city of Anthony has never technically been a part of it.
Oh, I thought that's what you said.
They were
No,
gonna
no,
leave
no.
it set, as far as I understand.
So when the buildings went down and they created the community improvement district, they needed a governing body to collect the tax.
Economic development did. That
Yes,
was
yes.
their kind of,
I got
thing
you.
they pushed.
And
through.
they went to the city of Anthony, and Anthony was like, we've got too much on our plate, check with the county. And so the county ended up taking it on.
So it's ours.
So it's ours.
Okay, no offense, Anthony.
No,
So-
no, love,
What I was telling Shelly I'd like to see is, okay, this thing's a little bit vague on the whole thing.
right.
I'd like for your committee to come up with what you want the guidelines to be and how you want to be, so we have it set. If you want just certain checks to go directly to people, that's what it needs to be. There needs to be a finish date on it. It can't go for years.
But if you're spending 70% of your time, so you're saying it would be nice to have somebody from Anthony on the board.
Yeah.
There needs to be one person for Anthony.
There needs to be a CID.
So when can you make that happen?
I'm working on it. Because, so Cindra's concern was, because according to the policy, there are 3 people appointed by the Board of Commissioners from the district to serve on the committee. And those currently are Lyle,
Coggins.
And
Charlie Coggins.
Sheila.
Yeah, Charlie Coggins, Lyle
Wellbrook.
Wellbrock, and Sheila, and myself and Shonda, because it's 3 people from the district and then 2 people from the county.
And I told her just to add in there 1 elected official for the city of Anthony to be on that board.
Right. But according to the policy,
We need to change the policy.
okay then, yes, and I'm fine with it. So I guess what we need to do is figure out, what do we need to change? How do we, I mean, does that have to be an official change of the policy, or?
Probably needs to be.
Shelley, why don't you let me talk to Jim Cobb?
Oh, yeah.
And he is the attorney, used to be with the League of Municipalities, which takes care of cities.
Well, and they were the ones who originally came up with the concept of the community improvement district.
And he was the one that developed, I think, all of this and had to get it approved by the treasurer of the state because they collect the money and they send the money back.
They want to do it legally.
And I tried to call him last week, didn't get a hold of him, but I'll get in touch with him and see if he can dust off his file and give, because in talking to Shelly, I don't think she's got much in the way of real good guidance.
I think the whole thing was full of just stuff that you can start to pick apart pretty quick. Just like I said, the clawback thing.
Yeah.
That really bothered me when we started to figure out that nothing's in the title to keep you from doing that.
Well, and I will say, I mean, so I also attend the Anthony Industrial Park meetings,
Yeah.
and so Mr. Poor
Yeah.
and of course Mike Laney, who was originally part of the whole, I mean, they've been very good at kind of helping me with some of the history and keeping me updated on how that all works and everything. But I think Richard's right. We need to go to an official source like Mr. Kolb, who was part of the creation of this economic development tool.
Now, to part of what Jeff said, we have talked in the past and decided maybe it wasn't in the best interest of the buildings downtown to pay off, just take everything that we make off that and pay off the building deal
And
as
then
quick
just
as
be
we
done
could
with
and be just.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing for the city.
And that's what we ended up coming up with, is there was money.
If you don't spend money on this town, it's not gonna be there.
But then that's where I kind of went last week when we were talking to Skip about this whole idea of if the money is there to make something like that work, private investors and private money will take care of it, and the government won't have to be involved with it.
Right.
So that's, I still struggle with that, is yes, it helps make our downtown ready for the next generation, but if there is no need and no desire to continue that, why do we keep fighting that deal here for the next generation to keep doing it? If they don't want to do it, why are we going to do it?
Well, it must be a need, because we've got a lot of people wanting it.
You don't have a community improvement district in Harper or anywhere else in the
I mean,
county.
have they ever talked about it?
I don't know. That's a great, right now, if any other building, let's say in the county, so in Attica, because I have had some inquiries about some buildings in Attica needing some repair and this, that, and the other, and the same thing with, they have to apply for a community development grant,
Right.
which of course comes from our Plum Thicket monies.
Which it was put together because the other communities didn't have something like
Right.
that.
So if they would have this, it would be, one way or
Yeah.
another.
Well, and because to be honest, the process says, it clearly says, if you are in the Anthony CID, you cannot apply for community development funds until your CID option has been exhausted. And there's nothing that I have found that says you can't even, once you've applied for CID monies and been granted CIDs, that you can't go then for a community development grant, so.
So one way or another, people are gonna fund it.
Right. No, I don't have a problem.
Not necessarily, you could change that whole deal, but there'd be no community development grant.
Right. But then
I know, we're trying to be business friendly. That's what
Well,
we're
we
trying.
are, and I think it's kind of a catch-22. It's a great problem to have that we have so many people that are wanting to do great things with their businesses in downtown Anthony. It's just, once we get this all figured out.
It'll be better once,
Yeah,
I'd like to
yeah.
have some guidelines.
So-
You board come up with some kind of,
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, Richard obviously has offered to visit with the attorney that hopefully clear up some of this stuff. I've already requested to Anthony that I want to be on their next agenda, and so I'll let them know that we would like,
if he says,
yeah, if we find out that it's okay. And then beyond that, guess what I have? a request from J. Mac Flowers for, their total project cost was $1,423.34. The committee has approved $750, which is a little more than half. To replace a glass in the front window on the west side where there is a hole and it is cracked. And you know, these are the kind of things that to me are just perfect
Yeah.
requests. Because it's not a ton of money.
Not a ton of money.
It's
One little thing.
it's gonna make the building better and this and that and the other, so. Anyway, so this is a resolution that I need
Need a motion?
a motion, please.
And you're comfortable with the finances and the funding right now?
Oh yeah, and especially for this amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you want, we can pull back and say, hey, we're just gonna hold off.
Well, we do have, we do have a couple of requests that I've gotta make sure that we can
Make it work.
fulfill and make them work, yeah. So, but $750, I think we're good.
Looks like $208,638 is available, but doesn't include future payments in that, correct? If I'm understanding this right?
Yeah, you're reading it.
Rightly.
Yes, you are the man.
200 what?
$208,638.49. There you go. Purple and white, right here. We coordinated.
I'm about to stick a look at that.
Yeah, dude, it's all over.
Well, payments would be, there's a payment there of that.
Hurt?
That's
spread out, but although-
100,000 this year.
Yeah.
So that's
No offense,
100.
Jason, but
No, that's the total they've got figured
Yeah,
that's
they're-
left to work with.
Okay.
what's that called? Oh, whatever.
What's the scandal with Katie right now paying for layers?
Hey,
all
hey,
that
hey,
stuff?
hey.
Jeff, you been paying attention to that?
Okay, there is a request for a motion.
I started to make the motion, somebody.
I just had another question right there to make sure that everybody's comfortable with. So Jeff, you make the motion, resolution
For,
number
yeah, resolution, what is it?
22 dash. Drum roll, please. Be like 11.
Sorry. This is not the right.
I got it somewhere.
I do not have the correct year of resolution from here. I don't know where it's.
Do you know what it is, Shonda?
I don't know.
I don't either. Hold on. I think it's,
Run and ask Kelsey.
Okay.
I'll be right.
well, and while we're at that, I will point out that Richard, who is a diehard K-State fan, is donning the crimson and blue.
On purpose?
Yes, to be a
That's
good.
no on short notice.
Go skin with your eyes.
They're the only Kansas team.
We don't have to go down that road though, Richard. We can stay where we're at and not have to travel that with them.
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Is it 07?
No, they were correct. It's 11.
There you go. All right, Jeff, you made that motion for 22-11 then?
And the amount was what,
750.
750?
All right, Jeff made that motion. All in favor?
And that's for J Mac.
This is for J. Mac Flowers. Now everybody go order some flowers so she can pay the rest of her bill.
They have more than flowers in there. They have all kinds of cool stuff in
They
there.
do. I mean, that's just it. Right now, I think all of our communities have just really cool stuff going on.
Well, that place is like a wife go-to gift finding thing right there.
Wife go-to.
A wife gift finding go-to.
What is today's date?
Fourth. At the flower shop, stick a wire through the hole in the glass. And then
Seal it up with epoxy and
look pretty.
Okay. Poor favor.
I don't need your opinion.
Okay, because it's blue.
No, just because I don't wanna.
I rub off on you. See what it did to Richard either. Get it on him.
Spend enough time with me. I will bring you to the right side of the state.
Good luck. There's been people trying for 59 years with me, so
Oh, well,
not gonna happen.
I've given up on you. All right, well, other than that, so just kind of a quick, so tomorrow I am speaking to Attica High School about job interview skills because of course we have the job fair Thursday. That's a joint effort between the transition to career and the county, we decided we're going to open it up to the public as well. So from 1 until 2, job seekers in the community can come out and meet with our, I think there's more than 20.
That goes against how many people?
Yeah, more than 20
Cool.
employers that are going to, you know, and they're good jobs. That's
Yeah.
the thing. We have great jobs right now.
Lots of good jobs.
I called my buddy Keith Lawing, who's in charge of workforce development up in Wichita, and I said, Keith, you've got to help us get the word out because there are great jobs right now in Harper County, and we just need bodies. We need people here to fill them. And you have cost of living and this, that, and the other, and we're just really touting that. But so I'm doing that on Thursday, and then Wednesday, Harper County Leadership is actually going up to the Kansas Leadership Center, which is where our curriculum comes from, to explore further opportunities for those that are participating in Harper County Leadership. Because we are an official county leadership program through the Kansas Leadership Center, the participants then get discounted, if not free, options to go and further their leadership training. So.
Did you see the Harper Industries April Fool's video?
No, I haven't seen this
Oh,
year's.
you got to see that.
But speaking of, since I have
Couple minutes left.
2 more minutes, Tim Pinner was named top 50 people to watch. Hold on, where was that? It was, I just saw it on LinkedIn this morning. That he made a list of, a very prestigious list of I think it's called the top 50.
In the state?
Mhm.
Oh, not just Harper.
No,
I'm kidding.
you're funny. You're a Gordo head. I gotta say my Spanish customers quietly. But no, so, I mean, and the other thing, later this month, I nominated Harper Industries for a state Department of Commerce award, and Tim and myself and a couple of other people from Harper Industries are going to the awards banquet in Andover. So
Oh, you don't know the results?
no, but everybody that's nominated will get recognized at the regional banquets, which is where we're going to go to. We're going to the South Central Regional Banquet in Andover, but we don't know whether they were awarded or not. So it'll be really kind of cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
You need to go watch that April Fool's. Those are always.
They're
my
always,
kids
yeah.
look forward to that every year. Well, my kids do. My kids ask for it. They're waiting forever.
I forget that they do that. So, all right. So if it's okay with you, I'm headed home.
Thank you, Shelly.
Thanks, Shelley. Hey, good luck tonight.
Thanks. Rock chalk, baby.
No, I don't think he was meaning that.
Don't rub my mouth.
Like he's make me a good supper. And
Do what?
what are you doing? Don't encourage that behavior.
That's weird.
You're supposed to have.
How are you, Catherine?
You're supposed to have, you skip
Very weird.
Yeah, I know. Is
You want to go ahead and let Catherine?
Was
or not?
here?
What do you
Jennifer
got?
had to drive, she sent me a message that her 10:30 canceled, so she'll be here in just a few minutes.
Oh,
No,
it was
Shonda was
Catherine.
next anyway.
Shonda, we missed her.
And
Shonda's
it's,
supposed to have 15.
Well, now how did I do that? Was it on? No.
I'm about to let Catherine come up.
It begins with an SH, and so.
yeah, it's, mine's real short.
Well, you want to go?
Sure.
Catherine's early, right, Catherine?
Yes.
Better early than late, huh?
So here's some mail for everyone.
Speaking of mail, what would it take to start moving the mail into your office when you opened up there?
I think it's just a matter of.
Moving boxes? What do you guys think about that?
Why didn't you hear what she said?
About moving the mail opening up to her office?
That's fine.
Anyway, we can talk about that later.
We don't have enough to do now.
I got no very, she's very.
I know, she will.
He's talking over here.
Oh, I know how to ignore him.
He's living off. He's living off.
She does it off hours if it were.
Yeah. It's a daily thing for me to do.
You need something else?
I love my spreadsheet.
Yeah, good stuff.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
I got a letter from Mike Garrett at Horizons, and he's going to be retiring after 41 years, and just wanted to let everyone know on that.
Yeah, he's been that for a while. 21 years, gee.
Yeah, so if you guys want to look at that. I did get in contact with
Farmers Co-op, and we are a stockholder. All the departments are members, and they just send one big check to the treasurer office during the
Here or
alternate
back?
Here. Now for PAC, only road and bridge have an account there. And now if we want to add other departments, I have an application, but,
I really don't think the others need to be on. I mean,
Okay.
that's the names, isn't
Yeah.
it?
right, okay.
Well, do they fill up, or, the ambulances there in anything? Or in Harper?
In Harper maybe, but not.
Heck, they won't be in Danville. They won't be in Love, so I don't think we need.
Okay. Okay. As for these properties, we were only able to find one deed, and we looked back to 1878 on
Isn't
the
that
other
crazy?
one.
No,
Yes.
what on earth? That's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no idea.
Why? I just don't get, why clear back then did they have that?
Well, you need to ask the landowner.
He
Not
might
that
know.
they
I'll
would
call
know.
him and ask him, but. Huh.
He won't have no idea.
Well, but it could have been passed down through the generations, maybe. I don't know.
What year you said, 1878?
Yes.
It's almost from the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where we was gonna be at to start with, then we moved to here.
Yeah, we were gonna be out there.
How do you know?
I don't know. Huh,
I don't have no reason that I can see that we want to keep them.
I can't either.
Jeff, you see any reason why we want to keep them pieces of property?
Not really. I mean,
We're not.
I'd like to know the history, but
We're not
we're
gonna
probably
start
not
with
find out.
great none. I mean, because you can tell that's part of the field.
But that, you couldn't track that one either though, how?
Yeah, he's got shit.
Yeah, there's
Oh, that, okay. But
So-
there's really nothing
so
on
what
there.
do you-
that is-
not
I saw that
What are
one.
we
Yeah.
gonna do when we come back and they say, no, we own that? I mean,
They don't,
They
they
don't.
obviously don't own that.
They don't own it. We own it.
I'm just saying.
Well, if they come back and say that, we've got physical proof that they don't own it. And this one, like I showed you on the satellite image, it's pretty obvious there was a.
Yeah,
fence there at one
you showed
point.
me that one.
I don't know about this one, if there's a border from up above that you can see, but this one's pretty obvious that there's a physical border. There's not now, but there at one point there was. So I think, my preference is to clean this deal up and get this off of our,
Okay.
I don't know what these guys think.
No,
but
I
just
wanna
don't see any need.
find out what the landowners think.
Well, there's, yeah, and I'll call this one, I don't know, I'll have to look up who this landowner is.
They're both in your area, aren't they? Out west, yeah.
Yeah, I can figure this out and figure out how to call them.
Well, I contact them and let them know that, I mean, they're gonna probably say, well, no,
Never knew that.
No, I would doubt it, but that, to make it fair, it does have to go up
Public
from the
function.
public, it can't be just something you offer to them first, since we're the county, I mean, if you were a private landowner, you could hand it over and say, hey, you get first option.
One glad those roads both in your district.
Well, I don't know how else to handle it, other than just leave it alone, and
But
maybe,
you'd want to contact them and say there's something going on, I would think, right?
yeah, I'll get a hold of them, and I'll.
But how do you, is it gonna be on the next tax auction then?
Or we could do it individually, can't we, since it's not a tax? We'll seal bids.
I don't know about that, but I'd already auction.
And maybe that's it, have it ready to go by the time Melinda's ready to serve.
Tax auction, these two properties going up for Harper County.
Just think of all the money we missed out on them. They're gonna have to pay back.
For real?
Yeah, tell them that, would
Don't you think that's the best way to do it though? It's gonna be sold at tax auction and this property's gonna be available at Harper County.
Yeah, I think you wanna have that.
Well, who's ever farming or running cattle on or whatever it is, they're gonna end up with it anyway.
Well, they better show up.
Yeah, but Mr. District over here is gonna be talking to them.
But, yeah, because
Well, and maybe we don't need to clean it up, guys, maybe that's just why it's been left still, but why are we holding on to that?
I'd like to clean it up.
well, I just don't know why we'd use that corner. Okay, and just say, I mean, we're gonna do something there, and they're out there in the wheat field, we're gonna go park grave out there.
But what an odd border. I mean, why? And that one is odd too, I guess. But anyway, I'll call and visit with them. They may know more of the history on it too. And this letter from Patterson's, is this the same? We got an email asking for donations or something for a mobile hospital.
Yes. That's the same thing, the Horizons was money as well.
Okay.
That's gonna be pretty close up there where Brooklyn lives at, isn't it?
Yeah, not far.
It's gonna be right there, it might be right there in his area. It's gonna be close.
It's gonna be between him and where you gal, maybe.
Somewhere from there.
You got it. Congratulations. We'll go for a cruise tonight.
Good.
Good job, buddy. See you later. He passed his driver's test.
Oh, good job. Yay.
I told him don't expect to pass it the first time, and he just gave me the thumbs up. So,
Wow. He's excited.
good job, Ethan.
Time for a Corvette or something.
No, I've got an old 2000 Yukon that the kids probably don't get to time.
Not a fuel pincher.
No recognition.
I started out with a 66 Ranchero.
So they want donations for this? Is that what they
Yes.
want?
Mhm.
Cool.
I'd say on that, foundation is a good place to go. It's a county we don't make donations.
It'd be hard to pick and choose who you gave money
But we don't have a budget
to.
for making donations.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep these or you want to hold on to those?
Yeah, you can do
Okay,
it.
I'll get a hold of them and try to get back to you guys next week, let you know.
Okay.
What we're doing.
That's all I have.
Can't wait.
You can, huh? You're excited.
Well, we still got time, just take another break.
You need one?
10:45.
Okay, at this time.
You want to make that motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Stand up. Jennifer's not gonna be here till later.
Well, I'm gonna see if she was re-messaged you again.
My driving insurance just went up.
So does it sound like Jennifer's not coming in?
I don't know. I have not heard from her.
Okay, she messaged me, she said my 10:30 is canceled so I can stop by as soon as I can. I said, okay, thanks, and then she's like, yeah, I'm stuck driving, watching, listening, so I'm like, so you're not coming in now? This is one, and this is just an insurance policy one that's not, and all of that is one. I'm just gonna hold on to this insurance one, I actually think I got this time.
Today's driver's day. Everybody's in driving today.
Oh, no.
Hi, Noah. We forget something?
No, I'm back for Jennifer's bid opening.
Yeah,
Oh!
she's not gonna make it now. So.
Can you do it? Can you do it after she gets done? Cause she's here.
You know, the only thing I'm concerned with is in the RFP, if they had a time, if she had a time in there on if it was supposed to be opened at 10:30.
It is supposed to be open at 10:30. The senior citizen building, we missed that.
What's that?
She had a bid opening today for that roof. At 10:30.
Does she have it with her, or do you have it?
We have all of our stuff.
We should open it 10:30.
Oh, crap.
Well, we can open it. Good. I mean, we don't have any other options to do it. So.
That's why she's supposed to be here at 10:30.
She was here early, like 9 o'clock.
She's got down drivers, so Jennifer's out driving today, that's why I'm here. So, there's one, two, that's the third one, and then that goes with this one.
That's this one?
Yeah, that's part of this one.
Well, I'm not cleaning that door out there. I'm not cleaning that door out there. I'm gonna put her on the
You get trick or treat then?
You still have my door?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
This is Absolute Roofing Solutions. And this very good.
That goes with that.
This.
And then there's a fourth one right here.
This is fun. There's a whole bunch of stuff to look at here. So there's their liability insurance. We have that.
Did she put a quote in for 10 and the shingles?
I think there was an option to bid it either way or a combination of the two.
Total estimate from Absolute Roofing is going to be $30,000.
And that is what kind of material?
This is remove existing shingles down to the decking. Absolute will inspect decking to make sure there's no damage, and Absolute will install a 30-year laminated composite shingle. Five-inch gutters with 2x3s downspouts, total will be customer's choice. Warranty's 5 years. Material warranty on shingles is 30 years. So.
This one was from Burwell Constructions out of Goddard. Theirs is for $19,960. Or wait, is that the, hold on, no, that's wrong.
Lot to look at, isn't it?
There's one that
20.
No? There's one that gave 10.
Yeah, so the total is $4,065.48.
What was that again, Jim?
$24,65.48.
And what Jennifer can do is put these together, like, so we can announce the prices and stuff today, and Jennifer can put them together on a spreadsheet, so each one more, or Shonda does that. Shonda can too.
Yep. Landwear roofing. And to tear off and replace the shingle portion of the roof is going to be $13,653. And to do the flat section of the roof, tear off, inspect decking, wide markable base, and cap roll roofing system is $9,270. And to do tear off and split of all gathering place with the K-style seamless gathering, screws and hinges included, is going to be $3,510. And that is 30-year shingles, I believe. Heritage Heritage, Tanco Heritage 30-year shingles.
So what was your total on that one?
I got 3 totals. One was 13,653 and
Your total was, should be like 22 or 23,000.
how come I got 2 totals here? One base price, material price, upgrade. Oh, that's upgrade to, okay. There's another one in there. It's if you want to upgrade to Markley Legendary Impact Resistance Class 4 shingles, it's 13,653. If you want the Heritage 30-year, it's going to be 12,358. Make sure we get this. Yeah. Then do that flat section of the roof. That was correct. It's 9,270. Okay, I did use that one. So can then you wheel up a total real quick of what, if we went with a cheaper one, it's going to be. Come up right now.
That's for landwear.
Landwear, yep. Well, that's a section if we don't do the other one. Like it'd be, without the guttering, with the cheaper shingles, it'd be $21,628. The way I got to.
Okay, I have Roden Roofing. I think how you say that. Roden.
Roden.
From Wichita. Looks like trying to figure out the shingle they're trying to use.
Oh, I didn't open these up. These are the Burwell, whatever, underneath.
30-year.
Limited lifetime warranty on these.
It'll be limited. Limited, that means.
Is that the same? I suppose it's good. I don't know.
I'm just gonna put this out there. Do we want to get an estimate on 10?
You know much about shingles?
Some, yeah.
Well, either or.
That's why you didn't get.
You could tell by the.
That's what I'll tell you.
All right, so Roden Roofing looks like their total is $22,395. I cannot see.
Which, you got the single there and then the double.
Well, I can't tell what kind of shingles are around there.
It was supposed to help keep them down better too, right? And more protection.
Yeah, they're thicker, so they don't curl and they stay even better.
Yeah.
Do you see a type of shingle on there?
Should have been. Says GAF system, 20-year non-material. I don't see.
20-year non-prorated labor and material, and then I don't see any other 6 nail for 130 mile an hour wind warranty. 20-year workmanship warranty. It doesn't even talk about the kind of shingles though, does it?
I don't see anything that says anything about, it just says,
What'd you call them?
it's a limited lifetime warranty GAF Timberline Natural Shadow Shingles Weatherwood is the kind of shingles they are.
We'll have to let it put that together for us.
That's what kind of shingles they are. Yeah, what that is for. I'd like to have an estimate on 10.
Kind of agree with you there.
We can keep these, I mean, we can keep that, when we send out another one, don't you want to get an estimate on 10 from somebody, like, I know Landwehr does 10.
We'll never have to worry about it again.
Jennifer did say something to me that someone had commented to her that tin would be considerably more expensive.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be higher, no doubt.
No, I think we know that, but I think we're thinking long term.
Long term.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, I had 30 years shingles put in my house, and it's 30 years, start getting dribble and blowing off.
Ours are not either, we're losing a lot of rock every one of these
I'm
things.
just telling you.
Okay.
That's what we had. We didn't have any local. I mean, like Jeff Green, I'd like to see what he could put 10 on there for. He's
And
pretty
I know
good with 10.
She did send out several local bids. I don't know who she sent
Well,
them
see,
to.
but he doesn't have the manpower maybe to do the
Insurance.
shingles anymore on some of that stuff, but
And they might be busy.
yeah, he might be, but they're the ones that did the whole farm. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I still don't have this one. What do we do?
Well, Jennifer coming back today, is she?
Yeah, she'll be back
Yeah.
today. She's just out driving right now.
Okay, sounds good.
So I just came up for this part of it.
All right, thank you, Nolan.
Thanks, Nolan.
Stuff to show me, to put on a spreadsheet for us or something, just as bids.
Catherine, you ready? Probably more than ready. You've been sitting here watching us.
You can tell me thank you if you want, Shonda. Shonda, you can tell me thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
How have you been, Catherine?
Oh, pretty good. Much better this time of year than last time of year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here today to discuss getting approval for our adult and juvenile grant applications. And so, as you guys are all aware, or maybe you're not all aware,
Well, you've been here once since you and I've been in.
Yeah.
okay. We are completely 100% funded by grant funding. And so on the adult side, we have funding through, there's like a separate state fund for adult services, and then some of our funding comes from DUI fines. And on the juvenile side, it's completely separate. And there's part of the money is set up for prevention funding. Our juvenile advisory boards also have separate funding they can go after. And this particular year, we've kind of, KDOC has kind of aligned the two. And so our grant applications look almost identical. Pretty much everything is identical. So every year we have to have a focus, which kind of makes sense. But just like when law enforcement goes after like burn grants and they want to like replace equipment, there has to be a focus. You have to explain how you're going to use it, why you're going to use it the way that you are, and then how you're going to have some kind of monitoring system in place. And so we ended up spending a lot of time last year, which was part of our grant funding and our direction last year. We went several years without having an in-house person that did nothing but face-to-face, one-on-one individual programming. And that's a big deal for KDOC. And it's what's considered what works with a different, I think 2 or 3 different universities in the last maybe 10 years or so have done a meta study, and they've kind of looked at all programs that reduce recidivism, that get people completing probation or get people finishing like drug and alcohol programs, and they wanted to identify very specific things that make whoever goes through the program more successful. And what that means is, one, that they finish the program, and in our circumstances, they didn't immediately commit a crime while they're on probation. And so what they found was doing very specialized programming that addresses specific needs. Like, for example, if an offender has a substance abuse issue, maybe they're addicted to painkillers or addicted to methamphetamine or something, programs that are specifically designed for that. And so a while back, as part of the What Works sort of what identifies particular criteria per programs that are successful, having a risk tool that does it, that identifies very specific needs and I guess commonalities that you have with people on probation. So for example, someone that comes on probation that has maybe a misdemeanor that they had when they were a juvenile, when they were like 14 years old, and they didn't commit another crime until they were in their mid-20s, is going to look a lot different from someone who's in their 40s and they started when they were 10 years old, and continued committing crime, went to a correctional facility for juveniles, eventually got probation with community corrections or court services, went to prison, and then we see them now. And so there are certain things that are going to be more common to maybe the way that they think, but their behavior and some of their life experiences are going to be different. And so this risk tool is supposed to identify all these factors and what areas or gaps they have. And some of that's going to be addressed by their needs are going to be addressed by like drug and alcohol counseling, sex offender counseling, mental health counseling with or without medication. And then what we do or what we look at specifically are what are considered criminogenic need and risk. So for example, when agencies were kind of developing in-house programming, in the very beginning, they looked at like group activities that people would do, like
group trainings. And what they found were the ones that helped, how do I say this? The ones that were rooted in really basic teaching methods were the ones that were more successful. So for example, let's take driver's ed. Like when you want to teach someone a skill, you explain it to them, you show them the skill, you model that behavior, and then you have them practice the skill, and you practice and practice, and you give them feedback when they're not doing things that aren't right, that are unsafe. You correct them, and then you retrain them, and eventually you give them a time frame where they practice. They log in so many hours, you know that they've developed that skill. So you know from that point on that they're proficient in being able to drive a car. But whether or not they're going to drive that car safely or unsafely is going to be kind of dependent upon their individualized situation. So it's kind of the same thing, where we identify those gaps that they have, and we teach them, we train them, we have them actually practice those things. So for example, one thing that we found, especially with females, and this is much more common now that we've realized that men and women get into trouble with the criminal justice system different ways. For a lot of males, all of it's a question of nature and nurture, to some degree, females too, where some things are taught by peers, like kids that get into those groups that maybe they all smoke pot or they vape or something. Like those are things that they're taught, versus just growing up in an environment where maybe your parents teach you that and you don't have the best. Like you live in poverty, they teach you how to use meth. Those kind of things are all kind of common. Well, one thing that they noticed from all these meta-studies with all these professionals with PhDs, that males actually get into the criminal justice system because of their bravado, because they have a chip on their shoulder, because they want to look cooler to everybody else around them. And for some kids, they may have friends that just want to stay at home and play PlayStation versus those friends that like to go out and party and steal, that type of thing. Women, on the other hand, tend to get involved in the criminal justice system because of relationships that they have with men. A lot of them end up coming in the system because they have a boyfriend, a husband, a best friend who gets them involved, and this is strange, but gets them involved usually in drugs. And that individual that they're with, that man, tends to have that female take the conviction. So if they get caught dealing, for example, it's the female that actually opts out and says, oh, it was me, I did it. I'm the one that was responsible for selling. And so we end up getting that woman on probation for that. Or it's unfortunately like a domestic violence situation where that woman takes it, and then 1 year loses it and takes a bat after them. And so we really see differences. So programming now, just in the last basically year, has been trying to address the differences between why males and females get on probation and like what their needs are. So for example, a woman's needs, they're going to have like daycare, they're going to have, a lot of them have children that they have to take care of. Some of them have lost their kids and they're going through the kids are going through foster care system and trying to get them back. On the male side, most of the men that we have on probation tend to be a little bit younger. They tend to be anywhere from 18 years old, first just became an adult, up to let's say mid-30s. Kind of seems to be the area that we really see. We have a couple we have one who's 71 years old, sex offenders. Usually the oldest ones that we have are, because sex offenders, they're the only population, or the only type of offender that if they have that true pedophilia diagnosis, they tend to not ever quit. They don't stop. And we have like 30 years of evidence that shows that that's like the one type of offense that there isn't a training or an educational program or anything to really get them to quit. I don't know why. But for some of the others, they are. And so our program this year is really going to be focused, kind of the way that it's been focused so far, on finding resources for mentally ill people, because we have a really large population compared to even 25 years ago. Because 25 years ago, a lot of them were getting assistance through community resources, or they were sending many of them to Potawatomi, to the state hospital in Larson, and now they're just in our communities. Not all of them are in danger of harming themselves or others, but with the type of mental health issues, they're usually the kind where they're more likely to become drug addicted. We see a lot with our mentally ill patients because they're trying to seek a cheaper alternative to medication that they could get over the counter that's prescribed by a doctor. And some of them have lapses in judgment that are pretty significant, where they end up, usually it's like domestic violence or violent situations, or really strange ones where they vandalize a bunch of things and paint stuff. Just really weird off-the-wall things that you see, but worth $15,000, $20,000 to fix. So that's kind of what we're focused on this time. And we know statistically that a lot of the offenders that we have, because they're the highest risk category, they're the ones that some of them have already been to prison. And you know, whatever behavior you've done in the past is probably pretty predictive of what we can look forward to the future. And that's everybody. We know realistically that, what's the old saying? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's kind of the same situation. So we're hoping that for those individuals that do want to help and they don't want to be on probation, and they don't like having poor reputations because of behavior that they've had in the past, whether it's beating on people or stealing or thieving or whatever it was. We do know realistically that there are some that will just choose that path time and time again. They've had 200 hours of counseling with drug and alcohol services. They've been to mental health counselors. They've been to some kind of correctional program. They've been to prison. And in prison, they get group activities. They get individual treatment to actually be taught better choices. And they don't always do that. So we know that there's
What's the percentage from, let's say a kid starts when he's 12, 14 years old, maybe even 10, what's the percentage on a male or female once they get to their 30s maybe, of straightening up?
It differs. So the research and the statistics say they don't give a base number, and that part of that is because they look at very specific commonalities with people that end up going to prison in their 30s, 40s, and they continue having a criminal record. The earlier that you start, and in Kansas, the age 10 is the earliest that you can be charged with a crime. So the earlier that you start, the more likely. If you've ever had to serve a detention period post-probation, if you've ever had to go to a correctional facility, it's significantly higher that you will just keep getting in trouble. And so one of the things back in, was it 2016, 2017, a lot of legislation changes were passed, and the laws completely altered how the juvenile system handles justice-involved youth. So we went from a system where you could be charged with a crime, taken out of home, and be in an out-of-home custody situation for 5 years, regardless of the circumstances, to a situation now where you are either dealt with as a juvenile offender or you're dealt with as a child in need of care. They don't mix them anymore. And so we've seen, and I want to give you these figures. So for example, we've seen this represents how law enforcement handles situations differently and how county attorneys are handling them differently. So we've found over the years, there's a very small percentage of kids, and I mean these are kids that got caught once at a keg party and you never see them again. They were like 17 years old. They've never been in trouble before that. So I'm not looking at these youth at all. It's all the rest of them. We've seen, for example, just in the last few years, we went from, we went from handling juvenile offenders strictly as juvenile offenders back in 2016. And we saw in the very beginning kind of a decrease. Now there's more of an increase where we're really, law enforcement and county attorneys are really being able to identify, is it a child in need of care situation where the problems are at home, or is this like a true juvenile offender situation where it's the kid, honestly. So for example, back at FY19, we only had through our juvenile intake, we had 28 youth that actually came through juvenile intake, and now we have 49 youth like that much of an increase.
Mhm.
We went from, we had a weird spike in FY 2020, where FY 2019 we only had 53 youth that came through as child needed care cases. And that involves like youth where mom and dad got arrested and there's like no one to take care of the kid. They abandoned a child with a relative, all the way to actual abuse cases where they're harming their children. 53 were filed in FY19. It jumped, which is right during the pandemic, in FY20 to 76 youth. And then 21, right now, we're at 41 already. So we'll be probably pretty close to hitting that 76 that we did last year. I will say with the changes, we are definitely seeing a differences where we have a youth that could be charged with the crime or could go as a child needed care cases. And law enforcement, I think, and our county attorneys are making more informed decisions about what's going to be best for that youth. Because in some cases, it's the family that's driving them and driving that behavior. I mean, how do you not become a criminal or a drug addict if your parents are giving you drugs at the age of 10, 12, 13? Yeah.
And it would probably scare you how much of that's really going on where you're located. Just
Yeah. I will say there has been like a slight decrease just in this, a little bit of last year and this year, where with our juvenile intake, all numbers, if you consider all numbers, that Harper County used to drive our numbers. This is where a lot of our intakes happened, and there's been a reduction, just a little bit. So I don't know if the population's smaller, maybe some families moved away, or kids are just, those ones that were in trouble are just getting older. I don't know what the situation is, but for years.
interesting to see if that trend continues.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was talking, I forget what it was, I was talking with, I think it was Josh Schwartz, who runs Chaparral there. He's the administrator there, and he was saying that last year and the year before, they ended up getting more grant funding to actually be able to offer.
That's what I was going to ask, that behavioral deal.
And I'm wondering if it's making a difference, because Pratt County has the largest population, and they weren't, like, the intakes that we did were nowhere near as high as Harper County, and now we're seeing a reduction, and I do have to question if it's having an impact.
Have they had that in place for 2 years yet?
I think this is the second year, so we're just.
Well, no, that's that behavioral grant. I think you maybe suggested something about that the other day about I don't remember. Remember we were talking about the ratings of schools and different things? And there was something to do with that allowed us to get that grant for 361. It was a lot of money. Wasn't it almost $1 million or something? Do you remember that? It was quite a little bit. And they hired somebody to help take care of the behavioral.
And I can't stress enough that Harper County drove our numbers, and Harper County doesn't have the highest population.
I can remember seeing those stats when you bring them
years
out.
and years and years. So it's been really a dramatic change. Pratt now, as we expect, has the higher numbers, which is what you would expect. They have a larger population. And that's the only other thing.
You're needing signatures, aren't you?
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to add, and we're not seeking money, but one of the great things is this.
Well, it's good you're not seeking money because we don't have anything.
So.
How that works.
Okay, so is this the right one? Okay, so this is our adult. Okay, yes. This is okay. And Brian, you were the chair, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
You just need
this-
the chair signature on there?
Yes.
Okay, and this is for which one?
That is the adult.
Okay.
23 comprehensive grant application.
You have that one title on your page? I have to
It's
do
just,
that one.
I just got the, or deal.
I'm trying to find the name of it on here so I can tell you how to make that motion.
Notes.
Yeah, I have the juvenile. Okay, so the fiscal year 2023 Adult Comprehensive Plan Grant Signatory Approval Form. Can I get a motion to sign that, guys?
Yes.
Jeff made that motion, all in favor? Aye. And then the next one is the adult title.
Adult comprehensive grant funding.
This next one's the juvenile. Okay, so this is the fiscal year 2023 Juvenile Comprehensive Plan Grant Signatory Approval Form. Can I get a motion to sign that, guys? All in favor?
anyway, what I was saying while you're signing that, a few years ago, TFI, I don't know if you guys are familiar with TFI, they are a contracted service, they contract with DCF, and they provide the programming, they monitor and supervise how their child and needed care children that are out of home placement are doing, whether they're in foster care or group homes all over the state. They got additional funding from the governor, and there had to be an actual bill that was passed that increased their wages, and they got extra funding a few years ago because they were having a hard time actually finding people with the right education, with the right type of background. And there's been a drive, I'm sure you've seen it in the news, especially when it comes to parole and with prison systems. They're unsafe, like the prison system, like the actual institutions were kind of falling apart, and they've had a really hard time finding the right type of people to be guards and provide services in-house. And so 2 years ago they got increased funding, and so they're hoping that will make a difference. We were, out of everyone that provides services for juvenile offenders, for adult offenders, we're the last agency to actually look at increasing funds. And that's important since we've had flat funding for 14 years, and 5 years ago they took away $14,000 from us. And so we haven't had raises. We are, for example, with court services, we take an ISO, intensive supervision officer, which is what our people are called, versus a court services officer. There's a $5 difference. They make almost $5 more per hour than we do, and we have to have the exact same educational background. You have to have a bachelor's degree, you have to have actual experience, and there are several tools that you have to get certified. It's a really long process. It takes a good 6 months to fully train someone now to do this job, whereas when I started 28 years ago, you just needed a college degree. Oh, and a driver's license.
Yeah, come on.
So, we've had a lot of support from the Department of Corrections, and there's a bill in front of the governor now to sign that will increase funding for our programs. I think $2 million this year, and then the following year it's like up to $8 million. And so we're just really happy at this point that they finally have. We knew eventually they would look at us, but I'm glad it's happening. Yeah, and so it's sort of helps.
We ran through that already. No.
I don't think we're done yet. I think we're gonna see lots more increases. Have to be.
The old saying used to be, it's hard to find good help, now it's
Hard to find any help. Yeah. I've been really happy with the people that we found. They're really loyal, and they're willing to basically do what needs to be done. They have that kind of the old mentality. Even though we have a couple of like younger millennials, I don't know if the generation gap is a real thing. I didn't realize that until I got older. Wow. Yeah, but there are definitely differences in goal setting and just that work-life balance. And just what drives you. There's like some differences there. But I've been really fortunate that the staff I have are just great employees. So I'm so hopeful.
Yeah. I think they'd have to be really dedicated to what you're doing, or else that's not something just anybody would get into.
Yeah, well, I've been fortunate because there have been some horror stories that you hear all over the state from, every position all over the state. But I've been happy that that hasn't happened.
Yeah, always interesting.
Right.
Okay,
last thing.
Yeah.
So I've got, I guess, an opening for this calendar year, this like following fiscal year, for our juvenile advisory board, and we usually have at least someone from the city or the county commissioners that represent each county. And I haven't had like a lot of communication with the city here, so I was hoping that one of you three would be willing to be on.
I'm always
We do meetings by
volunteering for stuff.
Zoom now. Everything's by Zoom. We just upload everything by email, because we used to like physically meet at the police station here, but now Judge McPherson loves Zoom and likes to do everything by Zoom. He's
what's the term on that?
It's on this one it's 2 years.
Okay. I'm up for re-election this year, so I don't know if you want to stick me on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here you go.
I'll
Oh, did you say yeah? Go ahead, me or you would go ahead? Oh, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
You're sure?
No, I'm not there.
Because I know in the past we've kind of gone year by year. I think one person would do it a year, we do it the whole calendar year basically, and then the next
I
year.
think I was on something like this, you worked for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I went to one Zoom meeting, but then I don't know that I ever get, I may
Nobody
have got-
invited you back?
I may have got it. We get lots of emails, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well-
now he's putting it all together, connecting the dots.
No, but all of them, right when we got elected, then all of a sudden, we got bombarded with emails.
And all of a sudden Catherine says, we need somebody new.
Well,
No,
It could have been that.
It was, the other people was like, God, our meetings used to only last like an hour, an hour.
Oh, you think I'm 2 hours, wait till you get on.
and it is a little bit boring. I mean, we do just sort of go through the stats. We kind of look at differences in the different communities. And Wellington is just, it's a much larger population, and so a good portion of what we kind of talk about is Wellington, honestly. But you know, we did have a period where we were trying Zoom meetings and in-person meetings, and then people were getting COVID, and it messed up the schedule.
And how often?
It's once a quarter, and so our next meeting, let's see.
That Zoom is pretty convenient. You just put a little earbud in your ear and you can go on doing your day.
Take my nap. No, I mean,
No,
yeah.
Just, you know, fully clothed.
Eating bonbons.
I didn't think about that, Catherine. Yeah.
We've had some interesting court stuff when people have been able to be at their home.
And you said that would be
So
the day
it's
of what?
April 21st at 9 a.m.
I haven't heard one of those in a little bit now.
And who will put that out?
I'll send it out. So like the next week or so, it'll all get sent out.
Is it getting windy out?
Are they testing something?
No, that's fire. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, and so do you have your email on the website, or like, is that what you prefer to use, or can I just call
Yeah,
it?
it'd be on there.
Okay.
I think that's one. Could I got me on that?
Oh, were you not on?
What? Not on everything.
Whatever. Thank you, Catherine.
Great, great, thanks.
See, thank you.
Amy, are you up?
I'm up.
Alright.
Are y'all?
Good.
Could we do a quick executive session with Richard or attorney-client? That way he can go. I'm sorry, we just got information from KPO.
Okay. How long you want for that?
I don't think it'll take 10 minutes. It'll be quick. It's just to go over the claims.
Okay. Do you want 10 minutes?
We can,
Richard, do you need 10 minutes?
can we do 5?
5?
We'll just
10,
try.
if we get it done early, we'll just,
Are you making that motion?
10 minutes.
Sure, we'll make a motion to go into executive session. Subject to be discussed will be legal advice on matters protected by the attorney-client privilege. Justification for closing the meeting is for consultation with our attorney on a matter protected by the attorney-client privilege. The open meeting will resume in this room at 11:29. All in favor?
Because if he's questioning it, it's gonna take 10 minutes.
Kind of details.
Oh, did she turn it off?
Bailey. Did you flick that thing
Did
off?
you turn us off? Oh, sorry. I thought
Good
you said
catch.
Shannon.
Good catch, Amy.
Yes, thank you, Amy. Sure.
So,
Sorry.
Oh, you probably won't.
Thank you.
No action taken on that. Perfect.
Woo-hoo. Let's go. Okay.
We got done at 5, just letting you know.
I have things. I tried. Okay, that's all executive session. One of the things, I do have a travel request. I would like to go on April 21st to Salina to the KCHRA meeting. I'll pay for it myself. It's not that
Why
big
would
of a
you pay
deal.
for it yourself?
Because I've
Does it
already,
benefit the county?
well, it will.
Then
I'm
there's-
the
you
treasurer
don't
of
pay
it
for
now.
yourself.
But it's okay though. I want to be involved in this group. And
Look at it.
now I'm the treasurer of the group, so.
Probably ought to be there.
I feel like I should go to the meeting, and it's just in Salina, and it's just a day, and I have
What's
zero
the
problems.
cost? I mean,
$75, so.
I think if it benefits the county, there's no need for you to pay it out of your
Well, but
pocket.
I don't know that I've got it in my budget, because I went to that one in February. And really, this, I have no problem doing this, I would like to go to it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kinda like Brian, but I'd be paying for that.
You know, better budget, so you can, someone.
That's the thing, I think my last one, my meeting in February exhausted my training budget.
Oh,
Can we, supply you with a car, you don't want to drive a car?
I could drive the Dart.
why does nobody like that car? I guess I need to drive
You
around the
driven the
block.
Dart?
No, I guess I need to drive around the jet.
If we're not gonna pay for the deal, can we at least pay for the
Okay.
car?
When you're used to sitting up, and then you drive the Dart, it's,
Would you rather take your car or this one?
oh, it doesn't matter, I don't mind taking mine.
You take the Dart and gas, I think that'd be, at least we'd have something.
Yeah.
You good with that? Okay.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. We do have 6-month evaluations for department heads we need to get done. We have 3 of our department heads, IT, Building and Grounds, and Public Works, that were 6 months in March. So I'm gonna send them out their self-evals, thank you.
Oh,
And then we need to look at doing those maybe next Monday or the Monday after.
will they have them back to you by next Monday?
I think they,
Okay.
oh. I'd have been off. Poor stuff.
Imagine how fast we take them off that wall.
It is
Is
crazy.
it slipping right through on my
If I send out the notices today and just ask that they have their self-evaluations back to me by Friday, and we can do ours on Monday.
Okay.
And then we can have them on the 18th, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Very good. I haven't gotten any responses from department heads on the summer help situation.
Everybody needs help.
Well, I don't know if there's just a money issue, maybe we don't have the money for it, or I don't know. I'll ask again today, and if I do get some responses, we'll go to the job fair out at Chaparral on Thursday the 7th, and that would be nice to be able to say, hey, we have this opening. But if not, I suppose we'll have to spend the money, yeah.
But don't force them into it, Amy.
I know. We did get a check for the total Durango. I received that, yes. Tracy had asked if we could deposit it into his account so that he can use it to purchase the next vehicle. Is that okay?
I don't think that's a problem,
Do
is
you
it?
have a problem with that?
And isn't that normally how?
Sometimes they go back into the capital.
That's where the money's coming out of, the bodies.
Is it coming out of that capital? Okay,
Oh, well,
so
then
we're
that's
putting
where it
back
needs
into
to-
there.
Because that's the
Yeah.
money we're putting for the vehicles coming out of that account.
Yes.
Okay,
And that's where the money will come from, to buy his next vehicle.
To buy
Yeah,
his-
so it'll need to flow through.
okay. I'll let him know.
We might,
Yeah, I'll ask
because that's,
him.
what was the reason we put that all in there?
Okay.
And he's due for one more this year, or is he done? I have your paper on, it's in here somewhere.
Yeah, right. I believe he does get one more this year. I don't.
I can keep that list of paper up a little higher on the.
Yeah, you need to clean out the trick or treats and.
God, look at all the
Well, the
snacks.
snacks,
What?
right?
It takes a lot too, but,
Oh, Nutter Butters, you got any left?
yeah, I got one more.
Peanut butter stuff? Peanut? Do you think he likes
Boy,
peanuts?
closer pretty
Do you think
fast.
he likes peanuts?
There's nothing in here.
It's all
Yeah,
peanut butter related.
It seems like I'm always on this side of the table.
Peanuts related.
All right, the next thing, I do need to go into executive session for non-elected personnel. And I think we can get through this in 15.
You think?
I think. I'm feeling confident today.
Somebody want to make that motion?
So,
Jeff made the motion to go into executive session, subject to be discussed with personnel matters. Justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters and non-elected personnel. Open meeting will resume in this room at 11:40. Let's do 11:49.
even have a motion on it, we'll just
Oh, okay.
come out and sign it.
I think that's the recording. I think you need to take Josh on that.
Down the bottom.
You were,
It's okay, though.
It was above. It was above.
and you're really down, so she's gonna address. No action taken on that. What?
Did I push the wrong button?
We don't know.
I hope not.
Why are you asking us? We have no
But I
idea.
thought that's what you guys are saying.
Jeff, you're our tech guy. What do you think?
Let me think about that. I'll get back with you
Go
next
click around and look
week.
at it, Jeff. Okay.
All right, I do have a personnel status form for an increase. We're gonna approve that.
You guys all see
No, not for personnel.
Did you sign it? And then the only other thing I had was this. I don't know if you wanna-
What's that?
This,
Just the one place?
Yes, that's it.
Yep, I think we need to.
Thank you.
If that's about noon, guys, do you wanna bring the clerk in and visit with her?
10 minutes or so?
You okay with that? You saw him. I think we need to discuss that anyway.
Okay.
First and foremost, there's no money in that budget for that. I'd be willing to entertain and have a discussion about a part-time position for the clerk's office. I don't believe that there's too much of a need for that, because just like Jeff brought up last week, you know, we've taken a bunch of jobs out of there. And there were 3 positions then, and now since, so I would entertain visiting about a part-time position just to help out with that. But that's about as far as I'm gonna go. What do you guys think?
Agreed.
You gonna talk to Josh about that?
I will. So do you want to ask the clerk to be on the agenda next Monday, or do you want to see if she has time now?
See, she has time right now, but 10 minutes.
Well, I just don't want somebody getting a job offer and then they find out there's no money in there. So I don't know, maybe quicker, I mean, you're the one that processes it, you're the one that does the background check and all that stuff. So really, it's not gonna go anywhere, because we're telling you, we don't really think that's something we need to do, right? So what do you think? Put her on the agenda next week, that way it's an agenda item, if people wanna come in and hear that discussion, they can.
We could
See
do
if she's available.
You wanna do it right now? You don't wanna wait and put it on the agenda?
Right
Okay.
now? Okay.
You done, you know, with probably. That way if somebody comes in, we know where we're at.
Jane, you had a busy morning.
Oh, man. It's fun when somebody's sick. Hi. Your shirt. I know, I wore it just for Jeff. I knew how much he'd be excited about that.
I thought we
I
had.
saw Shelly was
Thought you
representing
were
him,
Catholic.
Brian. Jason.
I know Jason is, but I thought you were too.
Yeah, I'm from Lawrence. It's legally required. Sorry.
I
Doesn't
thought
matter
I'd
where you
never
went.
admit that Jason Wolff was smarter than Jeff.
Oh, no.
All of Harper County.
I'm saying it in open session.
Yeah. That'd be
You're gonna be getting
honest.
phone calls now.
Been recorded, Jane.
I am a wildcat, but
I knew
I
that
don't
a little bit.
wear any of the regalia. I am very specific. It's only the actual name of the school. Nothing says Wildcats.
And then real quick while we're waiting on
Okay.
So,
Alright. Oh, you want to sign? Yeah. We can do that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't.
Just a minute.
You want to do Jennifer right quick?
Yeah. Well, we got Jennifer, you wanna run down and ask Josh? Is that them board?
About that,
We'll
sure.
call him or something.
I was trying to listen to you guys while I was in between stuff. People, is this mine to have in a hole now?
Temporarily, I need it back.
But you guys, I'm assuming you guys opened all these and
Yes.
everybody's still here, so nobody had a heart attack.
She's gonna run a spreadsheet for us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Plus, we're thinking about getting with the local or two and seeing about putting metal roof on,
Yeah.
maybe.
Cause there was no metal roof beds in there, it was all
Yeah, there was, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be twice that much, at least
You
that
did?
particular bid, yes. I had 30 in my mind,
Well,
based on
Looks
bids
like-
that
Oh,
we
there
had.
was.
Did you look at the right place though?
Well, I just looked at the first
One of them was.
I just looked at the
Yeah, there
first
were
one.
some that were up close to that.
Based on what it was when they looked at it in '07 and opted not to do it. And knowing, I mean, really for inflation, those bids were close to 20 then, so.
We're thinking long-term with the metal roof though.
Yeah.
So somebody don't have to deal with it in 20 years or 15 years or whatever.
We got staff to do that? That'd be cool if we had people. How handy are
Not when it comes that many peaks and valleys, I don't think
our,
so. With a straight roof, maybe.
yeah.
I think we'd be higher there.
I have to tell you, it's funny, I had more than one phone call from roofers who said, now I'm out there, now is it both buildings or just this one? Because they saw the extension building because it looks exactly like it, or at least the color's the
They
same. And I
do.
said, no, that's
Yeah.
something else, that's a new building, it's good, it's fine, don't worry about it. Okay, so we're gonna get this all together, see what's apples for apples,
Yep.
the whole 9 yards, all right?
Yeah, but I do think we all want to see at least what a tin roof would cost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So-
Did anybody even call you though and say, hey, this is kind of an idea, or?
No, they just asked, is that something you're serious about? Because they said we're gonna have to build it, if the trust says it's gonna be more expensive.
How do we,
I was like, well,
how do you wanna reach out to the couple locals or whatever to?
Well, she gave bids to locals, did she?
yeah, we put it in all 3 papers, we put notices out for anybody.
That's what I meant.
And I didn't know if any of these were, because the calls that I had were from companies that were all in Wichita, that wanted to just confirm information, so.
Okay.
I don't know who those local people would be,
Just put
so.
bid out, whoever applies to it, smarts to it.
Yeah.
I know Aaron Kosky does some local stuff, and I know Landware's in that town a lot. They're out of Mesa Lodge, I believe.
Do they do that?
Have you been out there and actually looked at that roof, that it's got all kinds of
No.
kookadoodle things, and it's got like little fake peaks on it and stuff, so I didn't know if your thought was, we want one big,
Well,
or,
something
Well,
with
that flat roof needs to be something for sure.
Flat roof will be gone, I'm sure.
yeah, there's actually 2 sections of the flat roof, and it's created other issues.
So the roof people, just tell them they get where to stay, we don't have to mess with it for years.
Mhm.
I don't trust the flat roof at all.
Okay, so we're still looking for,
We've not really stepping in them right now anyway, do we?
yeah, we told them 2 weeks, but the bid actually says it is at your discretion to do anything, but we do say that we're gonna just get back with them within 2 weeks. So it gives us some time to go through that.
Yeah, put it out there again, I guess.
Okay.
And you may find out when you start talking to some people that, like I said, that it's gonna be $50,000. I don't know what tin costs right now, I'm sure it's through the roof.
I had mine 10, and I don't remember.
It's gonna be close to double,
I think,
probably.
with just the manpower and then, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't have to take anything off. It's not like you
Nope,
remove the
just turn
shingles
over.
or anything, you just,
Just 10 right.
so, I don't know.
But you have to put something down between the tin and the rock though, that way it doesn't rub and vibrate or rust through.
They asked me on
I
mine.
was told that one time there had to be a barrier between there.
Yeah.
Mine, I didn't do mine. I figured the
I'm not sure who did the roof.
Tar,
Because my
paper, and
brothers
shingles?
added onto their house, they put that faux roof to tie in that line. Maybe that's not metal, I'm not sure who did that.
I don't know, we'll know.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank
You
you.
probably don't want these either, huh?
No.
You want to open the back?
Yes, I do.
Pretty handy to have.
I'll give you one of your own.
I got 3 or 4 of them somewhere, I need it.
It's just a PO box to those places.
That's the one up north.
Yeah.
Cool.
Those are the names around that farm up there. Kelsey, we talked a little bit here just a little bit ago, and we wanted to have a discussion with you.
Sure.
Darren's got some things you wanna bring up first, or talk about what?
I've been thinking about what we've had going on. Come up here.
Okay.
When did I talk to you back there?
I didn't know if
We
I
don't
want to
fight.
skip anybody
No, no.
in their stuff,
So,
so.
you know, one thing you brought up the other day was you thought was personal against you. For me, it's not. It's business decisions, okay?
Appreciate that.
Like the AP, in my opinion, I went back and looked at all the emails that I had from your office during AP. And you have to admit that some of the emails you sent out may have been a little intense. You even sent an email out later saying that some people may have decided that you was going after them a little bit or shooting them out over the internet.
Well, that's because I talked to Amy, and that's what she said, that she felt it, even though.
Well, it was.
Well, it was, but you have to realize too, we're to that point, before you were here, Brian can attest to that there was a lot of decisions being made about it without including anyone in the clerk's office. Am I correct, Brian?
I don't think you're correct on that.
Because you guys had.
You may not have input on it, but I think the discussion was.
Ruth was not included in that either.
Okay.
Well, anyway.
You can ask.
Yeah.
I can get the emails from Bob on that one.
So anyway, I went through and looked at all the emails from some of them start 99, and like some of, and I had the one from the phone. You know what that one is.
And that's the one. Yeah, the phone was the one I did ask for.
And so I went through, and there's several emails that has to do pertaining with AP, payroll, mistakes, whatever.
Right, and usually those are repeats, by the way.
So in my mind, the amount of work that you had on the emails, we took quite a bit of work out of your office between that and the phones. Because you even said in your emails how much time and how much work you did, and I asked last meeting. And this is a business deal because I'm a public relations person, okay?
And I got my duties right here, so brought that.
And also in public relations, I'm also a person that likes open offices and
Once, I got what you're saying.
I want a good working environment. So I asked the other day, because we made change, so I asked the other day how the AP and payroll is going, because if there's a problem, we had one email the other day from one of our employees, and I assume we got it taken care of. I think we did.
Yes.
So that's the working environment. I mean, for me, the open door policy, and that's why I was wanting to move it for that purpose. Just so you know, okay? My personal, I'm just being open with you.
I appreciate you being open with me since
The other
I didn't know
thing,
beforehand.
the other thing I had, I got to think on this for a couple, 2 or 3 days.
Sure.
And I got a comment the other day, and this was directed to me, and because people watch this, and they was asking, because he's in the courthouse, and I was in here last week, and the courthouse, the clerk's office was shut.
Yep.
And their comment was, because they knew you was asking for employees, well, why do we want to finance another employee when we have nobody in that office? He said, that's like throwing gas on the fire. And I said, well, I am not in charge of your office. You made decisions, who's there, who's not there. I have nothing. I said, I don't know. We don't keep track of your time. You do whatever you want, right? I mean,
And I did let you guys know I was out sick. That's why the minutes weren't done.
That's one time. I think he's talking.
well,
about
I mean, just in general.
Well, he was talking
people-
about last week,
Yeah,
correct?
people come through, they've been asking because they're seeing, and one of the comments was, and you're not tied to any hours, we don't keep track of your 40 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours, where you put in your salary. One of them said, well, we're paying them for 40 hours worth of work, and they're not there. And I said, but they may be working from home, but there's nothing that says, I couldn't answer the question for you, I guess. I mean.
And I usually don't take lunch, so I'm usually here from start to close. So I work 9 hours.
But I'm just.
I understand.
The people in the county don't see that though. They don't know that you're doing it at home and doing that. They just see the closed office and they start getting, they start questioning. And I said, well, don't question. Go question.
Right, and that's where I was talking about. I'm still allowed to go to the doctor.
Right,
I still get
absolutely.
sick, and we've had some other things that have come up, and that's something we discussed.
And that stuff needs to be taken care of also. I mean, we're not bad people. We're looking, but it's just questions that arise.
Oh no, I understand.
So,
did you also get the kudos that I received?
Yeah.
Brian, I didn't know if you had shared that with them.
I didn't. But did that email, did she understand all of the other things that he just brought up either? The reason why the position was moved out of your office, and then like what he brought up is you had 3 people who took positions, we took workload out. Did you have that same discussion with her? Because I haven't called her and had that discussion with her.
No. I didn't even know about the email.
Well, then how did you know about the email?
Well, I got the CC on the email, but I didn't know about it ahead of time, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
I was just as shocked as you were on it.
So
But
I guess where I'm at with this, with the emails that I've got, I mean, I went back and looked at them, and according to the time that I think we took out of there, I'm not interested in giving a full-time employee.
Okay. Did you want me to go over my job duties with you guys? I didn't,
You
I
gave,
haven't.
you gave them to us, I actually remember you gave us a, well, you gave them, I'll tell you.
I mean, I went through and, broke down for the clerical. The miscellaneous is probably gonna be the biggest one, because things keep getting added it's not finished, because as I do stuff more and more, but you're welcome to look at it. But there's quite a bit of things that we do in my office.
Well, I agree, but we did take, you have to agree that we took some work out of your office,
You
right?
did take some, yes.
I mean, there's, with all the, you don't have to, you can look at the emails and tell that we took some substantial time out of your office.
Well, and I wasn't dealing with a lot of that by then because it was moved on to the new AP personnel, but I was just kind of a backup. But like I said, there's quite a bit that I'm required to do also. And open record seems to be a really hot commodity still. And as we get closer to elections, it will bump, or usually goes up. I mean, is there, you may, like I said, you may not be aware of some of those.
Well, probably not.
Yeah, because it's not anything that has to come through here to be approved and such. Not to say that they happen often, like the burial. That's only happened a couple of times.
So anyway, that's what I had.
Okay.
I just wanted to go through. I went through what I had and what the people told me, and I'm just telling you that's what.
And I appreciate you giving me that feedback.
So,
like I said, I will try my best to not leave, but
it's
but things happen and
things happen. Things definitely happen.
yes.
Some good.
We have no control over a good portion of them.
Some not so good.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. She knows what I'm thinking.
Who? Me?
Well, I've already asked you half a dozen times.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're, yep. Like I said, and I keep adding it because like I said, there's things that don't happen all the time, and they're just kind of, oh yeah, I forgot I'm supposed to do that. That's me. I get an email, I get somebody calling in.
So coming from a simple outside the courthouse person, they're listening to this. And because I've already been hit up about what I'd said.
Sure.
And they're like, it makes no sense.
Well, and I think, okay.
And to follow that up, I mean, I don't know how it got done 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you know, with 3 people in that office, we take one out, like I've said before, and take, 3 or 4 jobs with it. But now you need another. And I asked you, so if you still had the 3, you'd want the 4th.
Nope, I would only need the 3. And I just explained that, I would only need the 3.
I know.
Because that is what helps run.
But your common Joe.
But you also want me to do those administrative things, and it's really hard when I'm having to cover constantly and taking minutes.
Well,
you guys have said that a million times, you don't want me to.
In the past.
Well, we didn't have the minutes back then.
I mean, that takes up.
That's a whole Monday sometimes, depending on how much you guys have on your schedule.
But it's not a full-time employee.
No, but that's just one of the many things.
So let me throw this out there, and I've done that before. Deputize Shonda, she's in here every week. She's in here every Monday.
So
she could be taking the minutes and have them wrapped up and done and back to us.
So compromise. So if I give her the deputization, would you then allow me to go ahead and have my full-time employee?
That clears up your Monday, so there's one less responsibility there.
So then I guess we'll just keep it in my office.
So it seems like we're going to butt heads a little bit because
we're going to constantly
I'm trying
butt
to come up
heads.
with a solution for you to
And I'm telling you
relieve
that
that workload in your office, and there's a perfect Monday opener right there. She's here. It's something we've done for.
Yeah, but
Amy,
she's
how
not
long
as
have we had
familiar
that
with
position
Homa
that
and.
could come in and do it.
Cheryl deputized Melinda, so it was back when Cheryl was here.
So it seems to my simple little mind here that there's a Monday we just opened up for you, Kelsey. So there's that. I would also entertain the idea of maybe a part-time position.
Well, and
that's about as far as I'd want to go, is to offer a part-time position.
And the reason that I took the many minutes back was because I was being told repeatedly that you were violating coma and making decisions.
I thought you were helping Melinda.
But she also was advising me they were making decisions.
She asked
Melinda?
you to come in and spend?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't.
Because she was,
She said she was angry. She would come in irate in my office, mad because you guys made a decision in executive session. She didn't find out about it till later, and then they were asking her questions about it. So she was upset. She said they continue to do it. Well, this was before I got it, and then even after I became the clerk, she was still coming in upset about it. And I offered, I said, hey, would it be easier as an elected official to go ahead and take those meeting minutes back? That way you don't feel like your job's on the line if you disagree or you have any issues. And her response, no, no, no. When I took the meeting minutes back, I did talk to her directly. She thanked me for taking the minutes to load off of her so that she could do whatever she did on the computer to help you guys with the finance portion.
Well, my whole job in sitting here for over a year is to make sure that these guys aren't violating state law. I mean, that's the whole reason why I'm here. And I don't know where the accusation has come that they've done it multiple times. There was that one time that they did something, they decided to open a position, and it shouldn't have been done. And outside of that, I'm unaware of anything that they've done.
It wasn't televised back then, so
I
I
would
have
be
no
filing
idea either.
against them for code violations because I've already done it against the city of Harper. So I don't know that that's a blatant.
Well, I can't say because it wasn't recorded back then either, when she was.
And we tried very hard to make everything as open and public as absolutely possible. 'Cause I don't care.
Like I said, when somebody's coming in repeatedly upset and mad, I mean, I was trying to help out too, because I felt like I was obligated since I'm supposed to be basically facilitating that, because it comes from my statutory duties. So I felt like, well, maybe if I take it back over and see if, and then it became a war. So, the retaliatory war between anything I said or did. Yeah, so. But did you have any questions on my duties list, by the way?
Yeah, I can kind of pick some of those apart too. You know, there's a few in there that are just kind of a signature, maybe 5 to 10 minutes worth of work. I just don't see a need for a full-time position, especially after, like he keeps saying, we pulled work out of that office.
Yeah,
And you know, I think we'd offered even pull the mail out of there. That'd be.
We could take the mail out of there, we could, I mean, there's.
So your solution is to put something back onto somebody else?
Put it in their office if we have to, or because we did take time out of your office. We did. You have to agree to that, right?
I'm not saying you didn't. You took my deputy and and her duties.
AP, payroll, that was only 2, or there
Telephone.
phones?
And just the phones. Because I never did NRP, that was
NRP, yeah.
was not ours. That was Melinda's. I don't know that I couldn't tell you when the last time we had NRP in the clerk's office. It's been that long. It was before me. So 2015, look for 2015. Any other questions for me?
I don't.
I do.
I'm just saying that's all I could possibly justify as a part-time position. I don't know what these guys' feelings are on it, but that's where I'm at.
Thank you.
Before we stop, just a question about this position, because we do have a handful of applicants for it. So,
Is that why you haven't emailed me back about it? Because you're waiting to hear?
no, we do them all at once. We open it for 2 weeks, and then when
Oh.
they're all in, I'll send them to you to review.
Oh, I didn't know that,
My
sorry.
concern is, I mean, we have people that are potentially gonna quit a job to take this job. So what are we telling these people? This is a part-time job, this is a full-time job, this may not be available January 1st of 2023. I mean,
I'd hate to disrupt somebody's life for that.
well, I agree with that, so I don't know how to proceed here.
But I'd be okay with a part-time deal, but that's about all I'd approve.
Where would we get the money from for part-time?
So I did email the internal, or the external auditor because Linda was on vacation, and he suggested that we could let the general fund go negative because, for her department, because everyone else's would carry it. He also said that there were 2 counties similar size or bigger than us that only have 2 people in the clerk's office and they function just fine. He did not suggest adding another person.
But we could come up with the money.
Yes.
If we had to.
What's your thoughts?
I'm not gonna go to part-time big most, I know.
Jeff?
We took time out there.
And I'm barely to that point of accepting a part-time position.
And where's that?
I would go part-time, but that's more than I'd want to do, yes.
So, I guess that sounds like from this position, sitting here looking at you, Amy, I wouldn't, a full-time position, we don't have the funding for it. I don't want to pull from other department budgets to do that. Kind of sounds like these guys are okay with the part-time, but. And in the end, we are the ones that approve the expenditure to hire that person, correct?
The budget, yes.
Okay.
But are they allowed to hire, fire, promote, or demote
They're
in
not.
the elected official's office?
But if it can't be paid, the options are you hire someone and when the money runs out,
Is there a statute on that one? Because I've never seen that one.
the attorney says that.
Which attorney? Attorney General?
Our attorney.
Oh,
says-
Richard?
No, says that there are options, and then these were the options, was that you fund it, you open it and hire for it, was the understanding that once that money runs out, that position is then finished. I mean, and you have to think about the people that are applying for this job. I mean, you can't guarantee that they're going to have it for a year. That's what I'm thinking of. I just want to make sure we're not giving somebody an idea of false security here, that they quit their job and come to work for us, and then in
I'll go ahead and get,
in June or July, the money's gone.
I'll see if I can get another opinion too, just to make sure, reading statutes and all that, so. Yeah, I'll get a second opinion too.
That's what I'm missing, the one
What's going on?
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Kelsey.
As of now, do you want applications? Are we holding off on things?
I would. You? What do you think?
Unless you want to get rid of them shortly, I would have to say we wouldn't want to hire anybody. Because her budget ain't gonna last full for any people for very long.
Yeah.
It's either
I guess it'll be 2 weeks anyway, right?
I don't even know.
It's been one, it's been us for a week.
So why are we doing that?
We've got another week.
So,
Not yet,
Okay.
I said maybe. If I-
so she has a week, so she needs to get back with her in a week, or get with her.
Well, but, and Jeff said he wouldn't even do a part-time. I would tend to almost lean in this direction. I didn't know what you guys were thinking or what you were feeling on the position, but.
Can we think about it? Or do we have to
You
make?
think about it?
Well, no, I've learned in my own 59 years
To sit on it
sometimes
for a
step
week.
back and think about it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Don't hire
for a long
anyone.
guy, yeah.
I think what we're saying, Amy, is don't get anybody hired because I don't want to just wreck their lives and then we don't even know what 100% what we're on.
Sure.
Sorry you're stuck in the middle of that.
It's okay. We've gotten a handful of applications, and we're not on a deadline. We don't have to hire within a certain time frame, so this is okay.
Because I think she's gonna find out some different information. So when she finds out more information, we'll probably visit again.
Sorry, Amy.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Darren, are you finished?
I
No.
think-
Jeff, are you finished?